Union talking with KMOX about the deal reached with St. Louis Public Schools on relocating students. I'm Maria Aquino with details.
I'm Scott Jagow. A group of ice cream makers pledging to eliminate many artificial food dyes from their offerings by the end of 2027.
A record number of travelers through Lambert Airport on Sunday.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. For today, clouds and some sunshine with a shower and thunderstorm mainly this afternoon, the high 88.
I'm Joe Pott. It's All-Star Week in Major League Baseball, and the Cards complete their pitcher-heavy draft. We've got details coming up in sports.
The president says he's disappointed but not done with Vladimir Putin.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A slow-moving storm dumps record rain on New York City and New Jersey. Police rescued drivers from flooded-out roads and highways. CBS New York's Dick Brennan was in the middle of it.
The authorities are all over Scotch Plains, Union County. They're looking in submerged vehicles, making sure that everyone got out safely. They're also reopening roads. In the meantime, people here say this is some of the worst flooding they've ever seen. And yes, they've seen their share of floods.
Torrents of water gushed through New York City streets, subway stations, and into basement apartments. According to the National Weather Service, 2 cities in Virginia, Colonial Heights and Petersburg, are at risk of catastrophic flooding this morning. New flash floodings held up the search for victims in the July 4th disaster in Central Texas. CBS's Jason Allen checks in from hard-hit Kerrville.
Sheriff out here said they've got another month or two of work out here easily, but they could be looking for people for the next 6 months. They're talking about draining some of these lakes and reservoirs. They're also bringing in more sonar to look for people, and they have to do this all up and down the river. It is an immensely huge amount of work they have to do.
The floods there killed at least 132 people. About 160 are still unaccounted for. President Trump's talked to the BBC about his threat to slap a 100% tariffs on countries that buy Russian oil and gas if Vladimir Putin doesn't reach a ceasefire deal with Ukraine within 50 days.
I'm disappointed in him, but I'm not done with him, but I'm disappointed in him. So we had a deal done 4 times, and then you go home and you see he just attacked a nursing home or something in Kiev. I said, what the hell was that all about?
Coffee drinkers are bracing for higher prices after the president targeted Brazil with a 50% tariff. Ryan Cummings at Stanford Institute for Economic Policy Research.
If those increase, we should expect to see consumers paying more for a cup of coffee, and then a cup of coffee at a coffee store as well. How much is really going to depend on, one, if everyone really believes, in fact, that they're going to stick, and then 2, how easy it is to substitute Brazilian coffee for other types of coffee.
Orange juice prices could also go up if there's no trade agreement by August 1st. Someone swiped some prized possessions that belonged to the Queen Bee.
Police in Atlanta say unreleased music by Beyonce was stolen from a vehicle in the city. 5 hard drives with watermarked music, some unreleased music, footage plans for the show, and past and future set lists were taken from a 2024 Jeep Wagoneer that was being driven by Beyonce's choreographer.
That's CBS's Matt Piper. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
At 6:03, we've got partly cloudy skies, 74 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. Missouri's urban search and rescue team is sending nearly 36 additional members to Texas, the site of the catastrophic flooding on the 4th of July.
The death toll now tops 130, with more people still missing. Missouri Task Force 1, based out of the Boone County Fire Protection District, has cadaver dogs in some of the most devastated parts of Texas, along with water rescue teams. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
A Venezuelan woman in the country illegally has pleaded guilty to causing a head-on collision that killed an 11-year-old boy. 24-year-old Andrina Bracco admitted to first-degree involuntary manslaughter and 2 more charges for the crash in 2023 in Hazelwood. Police say she was driving 75 miles an hour and a 35. She is scheduled to be sentenced in September.
An Oklahoma man facing 16 counts of animal abuse after driving a box truck with dead and unhealthy dogs to St. Louis for cremation. Police were alerted by an employee at St. Louis Cremation and found 12 dogs stacked in cages within the truck covered in feces and urine. Many of the animals appearing lethargic due to the high temperatures. 38-year-old Robert Peters has a court appearance scheduled for today.
KMOX is following up on the rift between the St. Louis Public School Superintendent and the AFT local union.
12 schools were closed due to tornado damage, and the union objected to where some of those displaced students would be sent. Local AFT spokesman Byron Clemens.
One of our concerns was the combination of some of the schools. Some of our students are territorial. We've had other combinations like this in the past, and we caution the district.
Clemens is talking about Beaumont students going to Clyde C. Miller. He says at first, Superintendent Millicent Boroschetti was a little resistant, but then found common ground. Now, the school board approved those changes Monday. However, the Beaumont and Clyde C. Miller change remained in place despite those safety concerns. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The St. Louis airport is now saying Sunday marked its busiest day on record. TSA screened nearly 26,000 passengers. There were long lines wrapping outside the airport that caused some to miss their flights. An airport spokesperson says the TSA was fully staffed, adding that a conference in St. Louis that brought in about 25,000 people or more likely caused that spike in passengers.
The Missouri Restaurant Association says the new no tax on tips law is good. CEO Buddy Law tells MissouriNet there are also a couple of other things in there that included the discounted meal.
They took it from 50% to 100%. Employers can get tax relief on any meals they provide for their employees. And then the no tax on overtime, anybody in the hospitality industry that work in overtime, they won't have to pay taxes on their first $12,500.
He says Missouri currently has about 230,000 workers in the hospitality business.
A group of ice cream makers that produces 90% of the nation's ice cream and frozen dairy desserts pledging to eliminate many artificial food dyes from their offerings by the end of 2027. We get more from KMOX Health Editor Fred Bottomer.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary says there's been enough reason to be concerned about petroleum-based food dyes.
We don't need to wait for a 10-year randomized controlled trial. Parents are telling us that when a kid has abnormal behavior and they try reducing or eliminating petroleum-based food dyes, they have seen behavior improve.
Dr. McCary says the FDA has just approved a new blue food dye derived from the fruit of the gardenia plant to be called Gardenia Blue. He says it will expand the options available to ice cream makers and other food manufacturers as they eliminate artificial colors from their products. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It just wouldn't be summer without a day of family fun at Six Flags St. Louis.
A new policy means kids will have to stick with their families while at Six Flags St. Louis. The theme park is implementing a chaperone policy from 4 p.m. to close every day. It requires anybody 15 and younger to be with someone 21 and older the entire visit. That includes single-day visitors and season pass holders.
Chicago could be on its way to shedding its title of the rattiest city in America. Judson Richards has that story.
The number of rodent complaints to 311 spiked at almost 66,000 back in 2021. It has decreased the last few years down to under 46,000 complaints last year. Now, the Chicago Tribune reports that through the first 6 months of this year, the city has received about 19,000 rodent complaints. Officials with Streets and Sanitation say it shows the city's integrated pest management program is working.
The time is 6:07. Coming up next, traffic and weather together. It's Total Information AM.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are discussing immunotherapy and how an innovative immunotherapy is showing promise against aggressive T-cell cancers. Joining us is Dr. John DiPersio, WashU Medicine bone marrow transplant specialist with Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. DiPersio, it's great to have you on KMOX.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
How is immunotherapy different than chemotherapy?
Yeah, so chemotherapy just attacks cells that are primarily dividing, and it kills those cells that are preferentially dividing, whereas immunotherapy can attack both resting and dividing cells, and really depends on just the presence of a certain protein on the surface of these cells that defines them as lymphoma cells or a type of lymphoma or leukemia cells.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.wustl.edu.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10. This is Total Information AM. Let's get you caught up on your ride in and the weather as well. Roger Brand starts us off from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the only concern we have out there right now, Debbie, is this crash westbound 270 coming out of Madison County, or, well, at least the jam is westbound 270. I've seen two different releases from IDOT saying the crash is eastbound at the Canal Bridge, but there is no eastbound backup whatsoever, not even a slowdown. But westbound is a solid jam at 203 all the way to Route 3, and then it's slow from there to the Canal Bridge. They said there was a light pole down in the roadway. It was across all lanes initially. Now they say it's just the two left lanes, but still restrictions, obviously, and a jam on westbound 270. And again, it begins as you approach 203. So whether the crash is westbound as I think it is or eastbound as IDOT says it is, doesn't make any difference. There's a big westbound jam, and it's getting worse. And, of course, you can't take westbound 5570, at least not out from Troy, because between 159 and 157, it's closed for road work till the end of the month. So if you are west on 270, you may want to hop on southbound 255 and come in through downtown. Of course, there are no delays across the downtown bridges so far this morning. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Warm and humid today with clouds and some sunshine. Also a shower and thunderstorm in the area, mainly during the afternoon and early evening hours. The high today, 88. Partly cloudy, warm and sticky overnight, though 74. Tomorrow, sunshine will mix with clouds. It'll be hot and humid. Watch out for an afternoon thunderstorm, high 93. Thursday, more clouds and sun with a shower and thunderstorm or two in the afternoon, high 87. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. Right now it's 72 in St. Peter's, 75 in Florissant. Sun coming out, 74 downtown at the Arch. And the weather is sponsored by Storm Pro Solution Roofing and Restoration. They're here when you need them the most, providing top roofing and storm damage assessments. Visit stormprosolution.com. St. Louis's #1 roofing and water mitigation specialists.
Update you on the Major League Baseball Home Run Derby and perhaps a sale of the Tampa Bay Rays. That's coming up in sports.
It is 6:12, and India's aviation regulator has ordered airlines to inspect fuel control switches on certain Boeing models following a preliminary report on last month's Air India crash, which killed 260 people. It revealed both engines lost fuel due to flipped switches. That order mandates inspections and reports by July 21st. India Air has already conducted deeper checks on its Boeing 787 fleet.
Firefighters in Arizona are battling two fast-moving wildfires. The Dragon Bravo fire and the White Sage collectively burned more than 55,000 acres in and near the Grand Canyon. The Dragon Bravo, sparked by lightning, has destroyed up to 80 structures, including a historic lodge and wastewater treatment plant. It also forced the closure of the North Rim for the rest of the year. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs has called for an independent investigation into federal wildfire management. She's questioning the initial treatment of the Dragon Bravo fire as a controlled burn amidst extreme conditions.
Flames roared through an assisted living facility in Fall River, Massachusetts, killing 9 and trapping residents with at least 30 others hurt. A firefighters union claims inadequate staffing hindered the response to Sunday night's blaze and contributed to the death toll. The mayor criticized that claim, though. The fire chief suggested no number of first responders would have been enough, while some residents were praising firefighters but criticizing the staff.
2 women died in a house fire on Kingsland Court by South Grand yesterday. St. Louis firefighters arrived and pulled out 2 victims trapped by the fire. They were taken to the hospital but died from their injuries. St. Louis homicide detectives and regional bomb and arson are handling the investigation.
The World Health Organization and UNICEF say more than 14 million children around the world got no vaccinations in 2024. That's 1.4 million more than before the pandemic.
The organization's annual report says last year, more than 89% of infants worldwide, that's about 115 million babies, got at least one vaccine. And while the number of people being vaccinated against measles increased, it's far from the coverage percentage needed to prevent outbreaks. UNICEF's Dr. Ephraim Lamongo.
About 20 million children in 2024 have missed their first measles dose. An additional nearly 12 million children start their measles vaccination, but they do not complete.
Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
St. Louis County is rolling out Narcan vending machines to fight the opioid epidemic. The machines will be out today for the first time. The first one in Pagedale. The machines are part of the I Carry for My Community campaign.
Well, Major League Baseball All-Star Week is upon us.
Oh, he tomahawked that one.
Did. Tomahawk chop in Atlanta.
Oh!
For the former Florida State Seminole. No! It will not get out. The Dominican dominance comes to an end. The Big Dumper is your home run derby champion for 2025.
Seattle catcher and Major League Baseball home run leader Cal Raleigh held off Tampa Bay infielder Junior Caminero to win the 2025 All-Star Home Run Derby in Atlanta. Raleigh, who leads baseball with 38 home runs at the break, hit 18 in the final round last night to outlast Caminero, who hit 15. And it's Raleigh and now Ken Griffey Jr. They're the only Seattle Mariners to win the event. Griffey has won the Home Run Derby 3 times. Tonight, it's the All-Star Game itself. It takes place at Truist Park in Atlanta. The Tigers' Tarek Skubal starts for the American League. He is 10-3 with a 2.23 earned run average. His 10 wins, second in the American League, third in Major League Baseball. Skubal has 153 strikeouts in 121 innings, and that ranks third in baseball. Pittsburgh right-hander Paul Skeens starts for the National League for the second consecutive year. He's 4-8 this year with a 2.01 ERA in 20 games started. He's fanned 131 hitters in 121 innings. He ranks fourth in the National League in strikeouts. Brendan Donovan is the Cardinals' lone representative. He was taken as a reserve, and he makes his first All-Star appearance, making him our Game Day Men's Health peak performer. Game Day Men's Health, get back to the top of your game. The Cardinals have completed their 2025 draft, did that yesterday, taking 17 players on the final day of the draft, 21 total players over the 2 days. The Cardinals took 20 college players, 1 high schooler, in all 12 pitchers, 5 infielders, 3 outfielders, and a catcher. That catcher was O'Fallon, Missouri native Chase Heath. He played at Central Missouri. He was the final pick for the Cardinals in the 20th round. It appears the owner of the Tampa Bay Rays has a deal to sell the team. This, according to The Athletic. Rays owner Stu Sternberg has agreed to a $1.7 billion deal to sell to a group led by Florida developer Patrick Zalupski. The deal could be closed as early as September. It would need to be approved by the other Major League Baseball owners. The Rays are currently playing their home games at the spring training home of the Yankees after Hurricane Milton caused severe damage to their permanent home, Tropicana Field. Next sports update is 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
St. Louis Public Library is such an incredible resource, and I hope you are taking advantage of that free public library card. You can get that if you're a city resident, a St. Louis County resident, or a St. Charles County resident. It gives you access to so much information, books, magazines, newspaper subscriptions, so many things that you can do if you're looking to save money. You don't have to have expensive subscriptions to get audiobooks or ebooks. You can get those from St. Louis Public Library. They have a couple different apps you can use. It's fantastic. Also, join us on Book Chat with Debbie Monterrey and St. Louis Public Library. I'll tell you more about the exact date, but the 22nd, I believe, we're going to be talking to Joe Fernandez, who is a local author who's written a book that's getting a lot of critical acclaim about the life of Joe Van Gogh, the hidden story behind Vincent Van Gogh's fame. Anyway, we'll tell you more online as well at slpl.org. St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
At 5, when others are running out of steam, the Redbird Rush Hour hits the gas. Kevin Wheeler, Matt Pauley, and Bernie Miklas bring sharp analysis, fresh insight, and no recycled takes. Real baseball talk for fans who know the game. Redbird Rush Hour, weekdays at 5 on 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, the unrivaled voice of baseball. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It's 6:20. Let's see how the roads look right now. Roger Brand's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, a lot better for Madison County drivers, Scott, which is great news. This traffic report service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, westbound 270 at the Canal Bridge. We had a crash with a light pole down in the roadway. There's just a little bit of a slowdown now running through there on westbound 270. So we had a jam 10 minutes ago, so that's greatly improved. I guess they were able to drag that light pole out of the roadway, and traffic is just a little busy going past the crash scene. So a lot better now. That's great to see that they got that taken care of so quickly. Other than that, we look great out Wentzville way, southbound 61. That overnight road work's picked up. Eastbound 64 and 70 from there across the Missouri River Bridges looks good. Northbound 55 coming in down through Festus is fine. There's just a little slowdown from about Loughborough to Virginia right now on northbound 55. Downtown westbound across the Poplar Mutual Veterans Bridge is, of course, still wide open. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
We are going to see a lot of sun and clouds, thunderstorms in the afternoon, and humidity through the rest of this 5-day forecast. Today's high 88 degrees. And again, yes, a shower or thunderstorm this afternoon or this evening. Tomorrow, another thunderstorm chance in the afternoon with a high of 93. It's 72 degrees and mostly sunny in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:21. What's next for ICE operations in Los Angeles County? This after the temporary restraining order from a federal judge and now President Trump's appeal. Reporter Margaret Carrero talked to John Sandweg. He served as acting director of ICE in the Obama administration.
I would imagine it's going to slow them down a little bit. I mean, the injunction doesn't actually block ICE from engaging in the types of operations we've been seeing. It just requires them to ensure that they have reasonable suspicion before they stop anyone. Now, I think ICE will tell you a couple of things. One is they'll say, we do have reasonable suspicion. We're relying on factors other than, race and ethnicity, things like that. And the two is that some of our interactions are consensual in nature. The individuals are giving their consent and they're not actually detained. But all in all, I think that, a couple of things. I think given the optics and the current status of things in Los Angeles, you obviously can expect the administration to quickly appeal this. But secondly is I think it will slow them down, but given the nature of the injunction, not stop them entirely.
Yeah, the temporary restraining order against ICE raids, it seemed to be somewhat narrow. Can you kind of explain how the judge singled out warrantless raids without reasonable suspicions of illegal immigrants being present at raid sites?
Yeah, so in some ways, what the court's order seems to me is basically just reinstating what is existing law, right? Not engage in, not stop individuals unless you have reasonable suspicion that they're in the country unlawfully. And I think the court's concern was that ICE was operating without actually that suspicion, right? The court basically finds that ICE was relying on factors that were not necessarily indicative of any sort of, criminal misconduct or violation of immigration law. So people's race or ethnicities, the language they spoke, or just the mere fact that they were, let's say, in a Home Depot parking lot. And the court found that, looking at those factors or relying on those factors alone was insufficient to satisfy the Fourth Amendment's requirement that law enforcement not detain someone, even temporarily, to investigate further unless they have reasonable suspicion. So, in a way, what the court has basically done is, as I said, I don't think it's going to stop ICE because I think the agents are taking the position that they're relying on more than these factors. But I would expect that the officers are going to be more careful now to be in a position to document what those other concerns were, right? Be able to document why it is they had reasonable suspicion.
Let's circle back a little bit to reasonable suspicion. What might count as reasonable suspicion for ICE agents to detain suspected illegal immigrants? I mean, will hanging out at a Home Depot or a car wash cut it anymore?
No, I don't think it should, and I don't think it ever should have cut it. And this is one of the challenges of immigration enforcement. It can be very difficult to identify reasonable suspicion about somebody's immigration status without relying on these kind of factors that, frankly, raise constitutional concerns. I think this is one of the issues that ICE agents receive training about this. They're trained to look at, consider the totality of the circumstances. Again, as I said at the outset, I think in many instances, ICE agents are very good about engaging in what they would say are consensual interviews of individuals, getting individuals to talk to them without, and answer questions that might then reveal their immigration status. But I think, look, this raises larger issues as this administration, in order to force multiply and get additional law enforcement resources out on the streets to kind of help with this mass deportation mission, is pulling in agents from across, state and local law enforcement or other federal law enforcement agencies that don't have training on the immigration law. And it can really lead to these kind of practices where you're relying on factors, that violate the Fourth Amendment by, just doing it based on appearance or language or the physical location.
Nursing homes around the United States say they are feeling the effects of President Trump's immigration crackdown, as Trump has rescinded work authorizations for various groups of immigrants with temporary protected status. Long-term care employees have been pulled from their jobs. Meanwhile, facilities around the country say they're seeing a narrowing of the pipeline of potential candidates. Some homes who had tapped refugees from Afghanistan, Ukraine, and elsewhere are lamenting the pause of refugee arrivals. Others who sought out nurses in Nigeria and the Philippines say visa waits are dragging on so long that candidates are choosing to go to other countries.
The time is 6:26, and your time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Hi, it's Margaret from Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano. I've worked with Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano for more than 30 years. Their guidance and assistance with my estate planning and legal documents gives me the peace of mind that I have the retirement I've worked for and always dreamed of. And I'm playing it fully with my grandchildren, volunteering, and traveling worldwide. I play confidently knowing my estate is secured in any event. You can get your estate secured with Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano too. Visit their website, yourestateMatters.com, and download their free webinar on how to get started. Then make a free appointment. Your estate matters because you matter. Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, yourestateMatters.com. The choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be made solely on advertisement.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Baseball's All-Star Week is underway. Cardinals baseball, it returns Friday night when they take on the D-backs.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're part of it. Expert care and genuine support backed by a network that puts your health first. HSHS, connected to our community, committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This isn't your typical lunchtime baseball chatter. This is the Gas House Gang.
I'll say this. Here's my perspective.
Tom Ackerman, Chris Romsey, Mike Claiborne, and Bernie Miklasz bring smart, informed Cards talk. And every Tuesday,
we welcome in the manager of the Cardinals, Oliver Marmol.
You want real Cardinals conversation? You're in the right place. The Gas House Gang, weekdays at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX, the voice of baseball.
At 6:30, it's mostly sunny and 74 degrees downtown. Excuse me, at the Gateway Arch. I'm Scott Jagow.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and here is Roger Brand, who's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're heading west on 270, they've completely cleared that crash westbound 270 at the Canal Bridge. Like I said earlier, they were making headway pretty quickly. It was just a slow down 10 minutes ago, so no delays through there now. It looks good. So westbound 270 is great shape from the Three Eyes and Troy. Of course, folks are going that way these days because westbound 5570 is closed between 159 and 157 to the end of the month. Starting to see a little volume again. Southbound 61, it was overnight roads, just rush hour traffic building. Southbound 61, a little slow. Wentzville Parkway down to 64. North 270 from 55 headed up through Gravois still looks good. Looks like we got trouble on northbound 55 at Merrimack Bottom if you're headed that way. So just watch for delays running through there. It looks like we have an incident blocking. All I can see as well, it could just be the fog because it's really foggy through there right now at the Merrimack River. And then there's slow traffic from Bayless all the way up through Virginia. Downtown, we still look great westbound across the Poplar and Mutual Veterans Bridges. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks, Roger. Today, humid temperatures, not too bad, 88 degrees. We could have a thunderstorm around. We're going to have the storm possibility for the next few days. Higher temperatures tomorrow, 93 with lots of sun. And then on Thursday, temperatures around 87. Right now, it is 74 in St. Peter, 75 in Florissant, 74 downtown.
Missouri's Urban Search and Rescue Team is sending nearly 36 additional members to Texas.
The death toll now tops 130, with more people still missing. Missouri Task Force 1, based out of the Boone County Fire Protection District, has cadaver dogs in some of the most devastated parts of Texas, along with water rescue teams. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Illinois also sending an urban search and rescue team to help. Missouri Task Force 1 already there, using boats, canines, and heavy equipment to clear large fields of debris. The Illinois Task Force 1 consists of about 40 rescuers. Close to 24 states are sending help to Texas.
A worker fell yesterday into that big road collapse on North Broadway near the riverfront. Fire crews rescued the worker, who fell about 15 feet down into the trench. Person taken by ambulance to the hospital in serious condition. The streets department last week blamed the cave-in on aging infrastructure.
Some 2,000 students whose St. Louis public schools received significant damage in the tornado in May. They'll have a different school to call home this fall.
The one exception is Beaumont, which will remain at Clyde C. Miller as originally planned. The St. Louis School Board voted on the changes, and only one member, Ben Conover, dissented.
The process that has led us to where we're at in this decision today has been chaotic at best and a little bit beyond that at worst. As was shown to us in the presentation, the decision for co-location of schools was recommended early in June. We're now in the middle of July, and the first time the board considered this formally was at the July 11th meeting.
Conover says he does not understand how the St. Louis School Board did not consider this earlier, and he adds it's unconscionable that they ended up with this timeline. School starts in 5 weeks. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your money report from Bloomberg on the way, as well as tech news. Stay with us at 6:33.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
It is 6:34, and your Bloomberg report is sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
Good morning. President Trump will visit Pennsylvania today. A White House official says he'll announce investments of $70 billion to advance artificial intelligence and energy in the state. Mr. Trump will be speaking at an event near Pittsburgh. Tesla shares rose 1% yesterday. The electric vehicle maker opened its first showroom in India. Tesla Model Y cars have a starting price of just under $70,000. India has tariffs up 70 to 100% on imported cars, a policy long criticized by Elon Musk. TikTok is hoping Canada's government will have a change of heart and allow the video app to continue operating in the country. TikTok executives are proposing new security solutions to ease Ottawa's concerns. And Starbucks corporate employees will have to spend more time in the office. The coffee company will require workers to arrive in person 4 days a week starting in the fall. Starbucks' current requirement is 3 days. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:35, and if that money report has you thinking about your money, there is something that you should probably do, and that is check in with an expert. Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial, he and his team strive to simplify retirement because you shouldn't have to be watching the news and the markets every day and panicking.
And again, I go back to the word plan. If you have a plan for why your money is in the stock market, you aren't concerned about the daily up and down movements of the market. So hopefully you didn't make the mistake and pull money out.
A lot of people were doing a lot of things in the last 6 months, but you should go to retiresafestl.com. Retiresafestl.com to get more information about Sachs Financial. There's some really good information there on their blogs if you'd like to check that out. It's just an easy conversation with Jeff Sachs and his team to get the weight off your shoulders. Retiresafestl.com.
The time
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis families have trusted Suntrup Ford Westport and Suntrup Ford Kirkwood as a proud, family-owned and operated dealership. We offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Ford, you'll find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupford.com. Save more at Suntrup Ford. Visit suntrupford.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Baseball's All-Star Week is underway. Cardinals baseball, it returns Friday night when they take on the D-backs.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
The time is 6:37. In tech news, the Department of Defense has announced contracts worth as much as $800 million with leading AI companies. CBS News technology contributor Ian Scher has more.
Clearly, the DoD believes that adopting these commercial applications is going to be beneficial. The DoD says that its contracts with Anthropic, Google, OpenAI, and xAI have a $200 million ceiling for each of them, which effectively says that they see the opportunity with these AIs, but also leaving open the possibility that some of them may not work out.
The U.S. House of Representatives begins considering 3 cryptocurrency-related bills today in what's being called Crypto Week. And aiming for the country's first major crypto legislation, Bitcoin hit an all-time high yesterday, trading above $123,000 amidst promises of clearer regulations. One bill, the Genius Act, which passed the Senate last month, regulates stable coins and is expected to be signed by President Trump, who has positioned himself as a crypto family-friendly president, with crypto investments making up roughly 10% of his worth with his family's company. It is 6:39, and we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back with traffic and weather.
Maybe you've heard that Gen Z drinks less alcohol than other generations. Well, not anymore. I'm Jeff Colvin of Fortune magazine with the Fortune Business Update. Gen Z popularized the idea that sobriety was cool. It launched the Sober Curious movement. But as Gen Zers age into their late 20s and make more money, they're changing their views. New research says Gen Zers of legal drinking age are more likely than any other generation to agree with the statement, "I am actively choosing to drink more." The study surveyed 15 markets worldwide, but the uptick in drinking habits was especially drastic in the U.S., where 70% of Gen Z respondents said they had consumed alcohol in the past 6 months, compared to under half just 2 years ago. The generation's alcohol consumption is now in line with previous generations who experienced a similar uptick in drinking in their 20s. I'm Jeff Colvin.
It is 6:40. Roger Brand keeping an eye on the roads from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Scott, in the last report I mentioned 55 at a jam, and I couldn't see why because of the dense fog out there, and it's really foggy, that's for sure. This traffic report says services Siding Express. What I was talking about was northbound 55 right around Merrimack Bottom, and traffic being backed up to 141. And again, you can barely see, I don't know, maybe not even an eighth of a mile. It's really dense fog there at the Merrimack. What I heard a moment ago was there was debris in the two left lanes, so you may not see it until you're right on it, but traffic's moving so slowly, hopefully you'll have plenty of time to move over and get out of the way to avoid hitting it, whatever it may be there that is the debris blocking, causing this backup. Once you get past that point, it's just a little busy. Bayless, Weber, and Loughborough, Virginia on northbound 55. Northbound 270 has more volume now. We'll call it north of Big Bend up to Manchester. It's kind of slow. Eastbound 30 busy. Mauer Industrial up the hill to 270. Southbound 61 just a little crowded at Wentzville Parkway. It looks better now than it did 10 minutes ago. Again, everything's back on track. Westbound 270 at the Canal Bridge. They cleared that earlier crash. And we look great downtown westbound across the Poplar and Usual Veterans Bridges as well. Transform your home with the beauty and durability of James Hardie Siding. At Siding Express, we specialize in James Hardie siding installation. Visit sidingexpress.com today to schedule a free consultation. That's sidingexpress.com. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's 6:41, and looking out the windows of Studio B here in downtown West, it looks like a beautiful morning with blue skies and sunshine. Let's get the latest from Joe Lundberg, our AccuWeather meteorologist.
Yeah, I'd call it mostly sunny downtown right now. There are some fog patches, mainly from Metro East. Those will be burning off over the next hour or two. And then the sunshine will be mixing with more and more mid and high level clouds. That'll keep temperatures in check at about 88, just a couple below our historical average. And that could be enough for a shower and thunderstorm to pop up around the area during the afternoon and evening hours, 88 or high. Partly cloudy overnight, kind of warm and sticky with a low in the mid 70s. Tomorrow's a hot day. Sunshine will mix with clouds. Could be a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon with a high of 93. I think the thunderstorm chance is higher Thursday with more clouds and sun as a weak front tries to move in from the north and west. That'll keep temperatures back down to about 87. Mostly cloudy Friday, a thunderstorm or two in the area at any time throughout the day. The high 87 will be in the upper 80s to near 90 with some sunshine. And again, a chance for a thunderstorm on Saturday. 74 in St. Peter, 75 in Florissant with that sunshine at 77 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We'll recap the Cards draft, tell you about a couple of Tennessee pitchers. That's coming up in sports.
It is 6:43. There's new music, at least up until now, unheard music on the way from a folk legend.
This land is your land, and this land is my land.
Next month, Woody Guthrie's estate and Seamus Records will release 20 songs and 2 spoken word interviews, including a version of This Land with extra verses. The New York Times says he recorded them all at home in Beach Haven, Brooklyn, on a Revere T100 Crescent tape recorder as he kept an eye on his 3 young children. Guthrie, who wrote lyrics for more than 3,000 songs, died in 1967 at the age of 55 after a long battle with Huntington's disease. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News, New York.
Emmy nominations will be announced this morning.
The studio is a heavy favorite to be among the nominees.
You know, I love movies, but now I have this fear that my job is to ruin them.
Last year's winner, Hacks, is expected to also get the nod.
Ladies and gentlemen, the queen of Sin City, Miss Deborah Vance, y'all.
Along with Abbott Elementary.
Everyone, as promised, HR is here today. This is Warren. So if anyone has anything they want to file, just raise your hand. It's not about me.
And The Bear.
What if I wanted to open a restaurant?
The 77th Primetime Emmy Awards are being held on September 14th on CBS and Paramount Plus. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
We're just a few minutes away from the Emmy nominations, and we'll get you the latest.
In Russia, a land of mystery. In Moscow, a city of secrecy, there was one place of peace and safety. A place where an American has been murdered. A place called Gorky Park.
Mystery novelist Martin Cruz Smith, known for the thriller Gorky Park, has died at the age of 82. He had Parkinson's disease. Gave the same condition to his famous protagonist, Renko. In his final Renko novel, Hotel Ukraine, it is being published this week. Smith's career spanned decades with honors including a Gold Dagger Award for Gorky Park, became a bestseller and a film starring William Hurt and Lee Marvin. His works often explored Soviet and Russian history, and it's praised for blending sharp characters with compelling plots.
I also want to know more about the voice guy. Remember when every single movie trailer sounded like this?
In Russia, a land of mystery.
In a world.
That
In a
is
world.
a whole movie.
I know his name.
called
I
In
know
a
his
World.
name, and I can't think of. He's passed away too. That particular voice.
Yeah.
And I can't think of his name. I'll find out for us.
Everything sounded like that
Yep.
at one point in time. It is 6:45.
Well, Matt Pauley, that is, recaps the Cardinals draft with today's recap.
The Major League Baseball first-year player draft coming to an end, and for the Cardinals, they select 17 players on the second and final day, 21 players total over the two-day event. Of the 21 players, 20 are collegiate players, 1 high school player. Cardinals have 12 pitchers that they draft. 2 are left-handed, 5 infielders, 3 outfielders, and 1 catcher. That 1 catcher was O'Fallon, Missouri native Chase Heath out of the University of Central Missouri. The All-Star break continues. Tonight, it is the All-Star game. The Cardinals' lone representative is Brendan Donovan. He is excited to be able to represent the Birds on the Bat at the Midsummer Classic.
The Birds on the Bat is just kind of one of those jerseys that's traditional, it's iconic. So just representing the city and this organization wearing this jersey is something that I'm extremely excited about.
The Cardinals will return to action on Friday night when they play on the road against the Diamondbacks. For the St. Louis Cardinals Radio Network, I'm Matt Pauley.
Well, Who's Hot is sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Order online for delivery or pickup premium soil, compost, and mulch at any of our 9 locations. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. Tennessee baseball, that's who's hot. Well, that according to the Cardinals. Tennessee, coached by St. Louis native Tony Vitello, has produced a pair of draft picks for the Cardinals this week. They took Tennessee pitcher Liam Doyle, a left-hander, with their top pick at number 5. And right-hander Tanner Franklin with their 3rd pick. Derek Gould, Post-Dispatch Cardinals beat writer, joined the Gas House gang yesterday live from Atlanta and spoke about the 2 Tennessee hurlers.
I mean, I think, one thing stands out, and it should stand out, and it stands out in the game. It stands out in the All-Star game. It's velocity, and it's velocity to miss bats. It's those kind of things. It's, the Cardinals really, they said that there's a fastball that Liam Doyle throws, 101 from the left side, the angle he throws, the vertical break he has on it. This is a pitch that does not make it to 18th and 15th. And as often as hitters are taken there at that 5th spot and hitters are taken early, this was a chance for them to take another college pitcher, but one that had what Randy Flores called an outlier pitch. I think you see some of that too with Tanner Franklin. A guy who was used in relief by Tennessee, who may profile as a starter as a pro.
That's Derek Gould yesterday on the Gas House gang. Next sports update comes up at 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Tom Ackerman here. Enjoy your outdoor space this summer with fresh landscaping, maybe even a vegetable garden. St. Louis Composting. You can order online for delivery or pick up premium soil, compost, and mulch at any of their 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting. They transform organic yard waste, branches, leaves, grass clippings, and more into premium compost through a 6-month static composting process. They are the largest and most trusted compost provider in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting is committed to producing only the best. All of their products are STA certified, and they proudly offer compost for organic gardening and farming. Whether you're looking for bulk compost or just a few bags, St. Louis Composting. Order online for convenient delivery. That's what we did. Or you can go to one of their 9 area locations. You can find it all at stlcompost.com.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live, it's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News & World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour with Lynch, or to learn more about our upcoming seminar on August 5th, How to Afford Senior Living in This Economy. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
Experience the magic of the Fabulous Foxes 2025-2026 Broadway season, which includes the return of St. Louis favorite, The Phantom of the Opera, and the spellbinding spectacular Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And right now, KMOX has your chance to win a pair of season tickets for the 2025-2026 season. Price package includes a pair of tickets for all 8 shows in the subscription package. Register now online at KMOX.com/contests for your chance to win.
Now, the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 6:50, let's check on Tuesday morning's commute. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's a little busy on 55 right now, Scott, if you're heading into work, on other highways for that matter. This traffic report service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. It looks like they did pick up that debris, thankfully, north of Merrimack Bottom, that backup we had coming through 141. It's still foggy, but at least there's nothing blocking the roadway now. Just a little busy at Butler Hill, and then you've got that slow stuff from about Bayless all the way to Virginia. Northbound 270, a slowdown at 44, and then north of Big Bend, most of the way to Manchester is pretty crowded. Eastbound 30 approaching Mauer to 270, slow. Northbound 141 approaching Chesson Ferry up through about 13th Street. It's busier on that stretch as well. Out west, we still look okay. Southbound 61, eastbound 70, 64 coming in from Wentzville across the Missouri River Bridges is good to go. South 270, just kind of slow. Ladue to 64. Downtown, westbound 64, just a little crowded at the Poplar, but no real delays getting to it right now. Are you considering life insurance? Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today, clouds and some sunshine. It's going to be warm and humid with a shower or thunderstorm around this afternoon or into this evening, a high of 88. Tomorrow's high 93 with another chance of afternoon thunderstorms. It's 73 and partly cloudy now in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:52. In Central Texas, new flash flooding held up recovery of victims from the July 4th disaster. Parts of Kerr County were overwhelmed again by heavy rain. These are some of the same areas devastated just 10 days ago. More from correspondent Jason Allen.
Water submerged roadways and overwhelmed rivers in Texas Monday, forcing volunteers searching for bodies from July 4th's flash floods in Central Texas to evacuate to higher ground.
We cannot afford to have people in the water and right next to the water that are not swift water rescue trained and capable of at least saving themselves from being near that water.
Nearly 100 people are reported missing along the Guadalupe River.
We don't know where they are. We don't know how many we lost. We've heard accounts of trailer after trailer after trailer being swept into the river with families in them. Can't find the trailer.
A Troy man who didn't like the new clear bag policy announced by the Lincoln County Fair is now facing first-degree terrorist charges after posting on Facebook. On a public forum on Facebook July 10th, Ryan James Hartline responded to the post about the clear bags by saying, "I'm bring whatever I want. Got a problem? Take it up with my sidearm." When others on the forum took issue, he made violent threats toward them as well, saying he could trace their IP addresses and bragged about the number of people he could drop or shoot. According to Fox 2, he's being held on $100,000 cash-only bond and will make a court appearance today.
This year is the 30th anniversary of Black Black Pride STL, and they're facing a $30,000 shortfall. They're calling on the community to help them fill that gap to continue their community work, from health advocacy to cultural events to youth support. Black Pride STL weekend is August 14th through the 17th.
A lot of voters that are honestly just tired.
That is Jamie Cox Antwi, St. Louis's newest alderwoman from the 8th Ward. She replaces Kara Spencer. Her brief campaign ran 70 days, but feels she has the pulse of her constituents.
People were concerned about safety. They were concerned about crime in their neighborhoods. So a lot of voters that I talked to, people that have been here 20 and 30 years, some people were saying they weren't sure if they wanted to stay in St. Louis. And that was something that really was disheartening to me because, like I said, I do have a young family and I want to raise my family here.
This is Antwi's first time holding public office.
A weak dollar is hitting American travelers. Elaine Cobb has more.
Thinking of Europe for summer vacation? Better check your wallet. The dollar has tumbled 13% against the euro this year, which means everything from a cup of coffee to museum passes to train fares cost much more than you think. Many Americans abroad feel their cash slipping through their fingers. Others may get a nasty shock on their credit card bills once home. Elaine Cobb, CBS News, Paris.
It is 6:55. This is Total Information AM.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
Today's KMOX birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Linda Ronstadt is 79 today, Forrest Whitaker 64, and Jesse Ventura 74.
Local celebrity birthdays include Jan Campworth, also Alex Buckheit from the Spring family. Jonathan Camp is celebrating today. So are Tim Eby, Joe Geerling, Nancy Schnoblin Imms, Nancy Miller, and Lonnie Eichskant from the Life Group. And happy birthday wishes to our very own Tom Ackerman.
This is the best birthday ever.
It's Tom Ackerman for Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They're the ones with the red ribbon. Don't be fooled by the imposters. They try to copy the name, but they can't copy the service. They can't copy Overhead Door Company of St. Louis's nearly a century of excellence. We're going back to 1926 with them. They have cash for clunkers. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, paying cash for your old garage doors. They'll haul it away and give you instant credit towards the new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door, $100 for each additional door. You can cash in your old entry door too. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Convenient, free in-home estimates, overheaddoorstlouis.com, or call them. Tell them I told you to call, 314-781-5200. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
Hey guys, Clever here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals. And it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with new Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Seems like back to school happens earlier each year.
First day of school coming in hot.
And this year, my kids had massive supply lists.
Folders, notebooks, and pens. Oh, the humanity.
But Staples had everything I needed, with some items just 25 cents.
Watch the small print.
No. My back to school budget was saved by Staples Easy Button.
Everything for school, in stock and as low as 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
In store, online, and on the app. In St. 23 while supplies last. Baseball's All-Star Week is underway. Cardinals baseball, it returns Friday night when they take on the D-backs.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
658, Roger Brand in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're just busy out there right now, which is good. That means there's not too many problems, just some volume for you, really, and that's about the worst of it. It is clear to stall 70 westbound just past the Innerbelt. Have periodic stalls, but never seem to pose much of a problem. If you're on northbound 55, it looks good down south, just a little busy in the right lanes. Butler Hill, Madison, and it's bogged down north of Bayless up through about Holly Hills. North 270, a couple of spots where it's a little busy. North of 44 up to Manchester. South 270 looks good. Eastbound 70 and 64 from out west looks fine. And downtown, we're still good to go westbound across the Poplar. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Tuesday. It is July 15th. I'm Debbie Monterrey. Russia says President Trump is being theatrical in threatening more tariffs if it doesn't agree to a ceasefire with Ukraine.
I'm Scott Jagow.
We now know the deal with Local 420 and the St. Louis Public Schools on relocating students. I'm Maria Keenan with the story.
A record number of travelers went through Lambert Airport on Sunday.
Narcan vending machines are popping up in St. Louis County.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A very warm, humid day today with clouds and some sunshine. Also a shower and thunderstorm mainly this afternoon, the high 88.
I'm Joe Pott. The Major League Baseball All-Star Game is tonight, and the Blues have announced their preseason schedule. I'll tell you about it coming up in sports.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. We're hearing from the Kremlin after President Trump gave Russia 7 weeks to reach a ceasefire with Ukraine or face new economic sanctions. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe is at the White House.
Overnight, the former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev responded to Trump's plans, calling them a theatrical ultimatum to the Kremlin, and that Russia didn't care. And in an interview the BBC published overnight, Trump said he's not done with Putin, just disappointed a deal hasn't been done.
Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs is calling for an investigation into the National Park Service response to the wildfire that tore through the Grand Canyon's north rim after it was allowed to burn for days before it erupted over the weekend. Park Service spokeswoman Joelle Baird.
That was all working as planned up until July 10th. Unfortunately, we had really strong, aggressive winds come up from the canyon, and that changed the fire behavior dramatically.
The flames have destroyed more than 70 buildings, including the historic Grand Canyon Lodge. Heavy rain triggered massive flash flooding in the Northeast. Rivers of water gushed into New York City subways and washed out roads in the tri-state region. CBS New York's Dick Brennan from Scotch Plains, New Jersey.
Rafts made their way through the streets, scooping up people with no way out. Others were brought in by front loader.
Because we couldn't go any further, so we had to get out, and we tried to go up the road and we couldn't, so they told us just to stay there, and they came and picked me up in a loader.
People whose cars were submerged had no way to get home.
Flights were delayed at local airports. The government releases the June inflation report in half an hour. It's expected to provide clues on the impact tariffs are having on prices. CBS's Jason Brooks.
The market consensus is expecting inflation to rise 2.6% from a year earlier, warming up from the 2.4% gain in the May CPI reading, with the core rate factoring out food and gas prices. And of particular focus for the Federal Reserve is projected to rise 3%, following a 2.8% gain in May.
Who knew animals and plants have been carrying on secret relationships we humans knew nothing about? CBS's Vicki Barker is at the foreign desk.
The rapid high-frequency clicks that signal a tomato plant in distress. Now scientists in Israel say some insects can hear those sounds and act accordingly. They say female moths avoid laying their eggs on plants emitting those distress signals, do lay eggs on plants that signal they're healthy.
Dow futures are down 23. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius.
or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
At 7:04, we have mostly sunny skies right now and 75 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Today is Tuesday, July 15th. News sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Scott Jagow.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. A follow-up to a story KMOX told you about last week. St. Louis Public School Superintendent has reached a deal with the school, the teachers union, on relocation plans for students whose schools sustained significant tornado damage.
AFT Local 420 spokesman Byron Clemens tells KMOX Superintendent Millicent Borichetti and Union President Ray Cummings reached an amicable agreement.
This is in conjunction with all the other unions that are represented in the district. We had a moment of solidarity and unity. We found a way to move forward.
The St. Louis School Board signed off on Dr. Borichetti's proposal, which has a mutually agreeable tentative relocation of the schools that were damaged in the May 16th tornado. The only exception was Beaumont students will still go to Clyde C. Miller as originally proposed, which was one of the union's big concerns because of rivalry. Maria Kina, KMOX News.
St. Louis County is rolling out Narcan vending machines to fight the opioid epidemic. The machines will be out today for the first time. The first one's in Pagedale. They're part of the I Carry for My Community campaign.
The no new tax on tips law, recently signed as part of President Trump's mega budget bill, is a win for the state's 230,000 hospitality workers, says the Missouri Restaurant Association. The organization's CEO, Buddy Lal, tells MissouriNet it will be helpful to those who are tipped.
So when they file their taxes, they won't have to pay federal income tax on up to $25,000 of their tips. That's going to be helpful for that group of folks. The people that work the part-time job that only have $10,000 in tips, they're probably not even in a tax bracket where they're paying much federal income tax. But as you start to get a little higher up in your income, then it will definitely start to have an impact.
That law is just temporary, though. It is set to expire December 31st, 2028, unless renewed by Congress.
2 women died in a house fire on Kingsland Court by South Grand yesterday. St. Louis firefighters arrived and pulled out the 2 victims trapped by the fire. They were taken to the hospital but died from their injuries. St. Louis homicide detectives and bomb and arson are on the case.
An Oklahoma man facing 16 counts of animal abuse after driving a box truck with dead and unhealthy dogs to St. Louis for cremation. Police were alerted by an employee at the cremation place and found 12 dogs stacked in cages within the truck covered in feces and urine. Many of the animals appeared lethargic due to high temperatures, with 7 of them near death. 38-year-old Robert Peters of Noble, Oklahoma, told police he owns an animal transportation business. He's scheduled to make a court appearance today.
A Venezuelan woman in the country illegally has pleaded guilty to causing a head-on collision that killed an 11-year-old boy. 24-year-old Andrina Bracco admitted to first-degree involuntary manslaughter and 2 other charges. This was a December 2023 crash in Hazelwood. Police say she was driving 75 in a 35. She is scheduled to be sentenced in September.
The St. Louis airport is now saying that Sunday marked its busiest day on record. TSA screened nearly 26,000 passengers. There were long lines wrapping outside the airport that caused some people to miss their flights. An airport spokesperson says the TSA was fully staffed, adding that a conference in St. Louis that brought in about 25,000 people likely caused that spike in passengers.
Chicago's run-ins with rats, it's on the decline.
There's a chance Chicago may no longer be known as the rattiest city in America. The number of rodent complaints to 311 spiked at almost 66,000 back in 2021. It has decreased the last few years down to under 46,000 complaints last year. Now, the Chicago Tribune reports that through the first 6 months of 2025, the city has received about 19,000 rodent complaints. Officials with Streets and Sanitation say it shows the city's integrated pest management program is working.
A new natural food dye has been approved by the FDA. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer will tell us more about that story coming up after the break. We'll also get you traffic and weather together. It's 7:08.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. Right now, you can choose from payments as low as $99 a month or 12 months with no payments and no interest, plus a free in-home window and energy assessment from the leaders in the window business. Been with these guys now for a while, and they have treated me very well and my listeners very well. Many of you from the DGS have reached out to get a quote. As you know, they're always in the middle because they are just a solid company. Call 314-334-2522. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:10. Let's get to Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, again, watch for foggy conditions. 55 was foggy earlier. It still is, but there was debris that was causing a jam north of the 141 area. That's gone, but we still have slow traffic northbound 55, Butler Hill, most of the way up to 270. From just north of Bayless up to River to Pear, and a little busy again, Loughborough, Virginia area. North 270, a little slowdown passing Tesson Ferry. North of 44, a couple of busy stretches up toward Manchester, and then Clayton Road up to 64 is also a little slow. South 270, south of Olive to 64, there's busy traffic there. Eastbound 70 looks a little heavy coming into Wentzville Parkway. If you're traveling in on eastbound 64 or westbound 64 for that matter, through the inner belt, you're all clear. Eastbound 70 looks great across the Blanchard into downtown. Downtown, we're still good to go on 64, 55, 64 across the Poplar Musial Veterans Bridge, still light and on the go. And of course, 5570 remains closed westbound between 159 and 157. So take westbound 270 to 255 south, and that alternate route looks great for you right now as well. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, clouds and some sunshine today. Very warm and humid. Look for a shower and thunderstorm mainly during the afternoon and evening hours, the high 88. Later tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid, low 74. For tomorrow, sunshine mixing with clouds. It'll be hot and humid with a thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 93. Thursday, more clouds and sun, warm and humid, with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm likely in the afternoon, high 87. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is partly cloudy right now in downtown St. Louis and 74 degrees.
The Blues announced their preseason schedule. I'll give you those details straight ahead in sports.
It is 7:12. Illinois is sending an urban search and rescue team to Texas. Missouri Task Force 1's already there using boats, canines, and heavy equipment to clear large fields of debris. Illinois' Task Force 1 consists of about 40 rescuers. Close to 24 states are sending help to Texas.
A group of ice cream makers that produces 90% of the nation's ice cream and frozen dairy desserts is pledging to eliminate many artificial food dyes from their offerings by the end of 2027.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary says there's been enough reason to be concerned about petroleum-based food dyes.
We don't need to wait for a 10-year randomized controlled trial. Parents are telling us that when a kid has abnormal behavior and they try reducing or eliminating petroleum-based food dyes, they have seen behavior improve.
Dr. Makary says the FDA has just approved a new blue food dye derived from the fruit of the gardenia plant to be called Gardenia Blue. He says it will expand the options available to ice cream makers and other food manufacturers as they eliminate artificial colors from their products. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Loaves of bread sold at Walmart and Kroger stores in Missouri are being recalled due to potentially containing undeclared hazelnuts. The FDA warns people with nut allergies or severe sensitivity to hazelnuts. Serious or life-threatening reactions are possible if they consume Lewis Bake Shop artisan-style half-loaf bread. Nearly 900 loaves were found to have the nuts. That prompted the voluntary recall. Customers can return the affected bread to their place of purchase for a full refund.
Oh, yeah, spending the day at Six Flags with your friends. Well, if you're under 15, no more. Six Flags nationwide implementing a chaperone policy, including here in St. Louis, from 4 until close every day. Anyone 15 and under will need to be with an adult, 21 years or older at all times, and that does apply to season pass holders.
That sounds difficult to enforce.
It does sound difficult to enforce. And I get it, but I also feel bad for the under 15-year-olds who behave themselves and didn't cause
They just
problems.
want something to do.
I know. They can't hang out in malls. They can't hang out at Six Flags. Where are they supposed to go?
I remember going to the theme park about that age.
That's right.
Feeling very independent.
Without a doubt.
But no more. At least until 4 p.m. You can go with your friends until 4 p.m. and then you need your mom. It is 7:15.
And it is All-Star Week in Major League Baseball.
Oh, he tomahawked that one.
did. Tomahawk chop in Atlanta. Oh! For the former Florida State Seminole. No! It will not get out. The Dominican dominance comes to an end. The Big Dumper is your home run derby champion for 2025.
Don't ask me where that nickname comes from, but Seattle catcher and MLB home run leader Cal Raleigh held off Tampa Bay infielder Junior Caminero to win the 2025 All-Star Home Run Derby. Raleigh leads baseball with 38 homers. He hit 18 in the final round last night. That was better than Caminero, who hit 15. And Raleigh, along with Ken Griffey Jr., they're the only Seattle Mariners to win the event. Griffey has won the Derby 3 times. Tonight, the All-Star Game itself takes place at Truist Park in Atlanta. That's the home of the Braves. The Tigers' Tarek Skubal starts for the American League. He's 10-3. He's got a 2.23 ERA, 10 wins, tied for second in the American League. They're third in all of Major League Baseball. Skubal has 153 strikeouts in 121 innings, and that ranks third in baseball. Pittsburgh right-hander Paul Skeens starts for the National League, and it's his second consecutive start in his second year in the Bigs. He's 4-8 with a 2.01 ERA. 20 games started this year. He's spanned 131 hitters in 121 innings. He ranks fourth in the National League in strikeouts. Brendan Donovan is the Cardinals' sole representative in the game. He was taken as a reserve. He's making his first All-Star appearance. He's our player to bank on. Brought to you by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. The Cardinals completed their 2025 draft yesterday, taking 17 players on the final day, 21 players overall over the 2-day draft. The Cards selected 20 college players, 1 high schooler. In all, they took 12 pitchers, 5 infielders, 3 outfielders, and 1 catcher. That catcher was O'Fallon, Missouri native Chase Heath, who played at Central Missouri. He was the final pick for the Cards in the 20th round. It appears the owner of the Tampa Bay Rays has a deal to sell the team. This is according to The Athletic. Rays owner Stu Sternberg has agreed to a $1.7 billion deal to sell to a group led by Florida land developer Patrick Zalupski. That deal could be closed as early as September. It would need to be approved by the other MLB owners. The Rays are currently playing their home games at the Yankees spring training site. This after Hurricane Milton caused severe damage to their permanent home, Tropicana Field. The Blues announced their preseason schedule yesterday afternoon. They've got 6 games ahead of the 2025-26 regular season. The team will play 3 of those games at home at Enterprise Center, September 27th against the Blackhawks at 6 o'clock. September 30th against the Stars. That's a 7 o'clock start. And October 2nd against the Ottawa Senators. That's also 7 o'clock. The Blues and the entire NHL will release the regular season tomorrow at noon. Next sports update is 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
104.1 FM, KMOX. News, talk, sports.
It's hot. So is it better to set my thermostat at 70, 65, 75, 80? Here's my advice to you. Set the thermostat exactly where you're more comfortable. The difference I would spend from 75 to 80, are you ready for your savings? Now remember, this is for 3 months. In my opinion, you could save $10 to $15 a month. Or I can say, I'm still uncomfortable, so lower it, 70 degrees. So now you're spending $10 to $20 more a month for 3 months. So let's just say to 20. Let's just get crazy and think that it's going to cost you $20 more a month for your comfort. That's $60 in 3 months. Do you have an extra $60? With that being said, if your system is not cooling, then call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. God bless.
The trip of the summer is coming. Collective Soul. Live. Summer Unity Tour 2025. July 17th, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater with Our Lady Peace. Special guest, Graylin James Rue. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Collective Soul. Live. Our Lady Peace. Together. Now the news. At 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 7:20, check on the roads from Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the fog definitely starting to burn off, Scott. I have a good view of 55 at Merrimack Bottom. Before, you could hardly see the hand in front of your face, it seemed like, but now I have a good view of things. I see a stall southbound to south of Merrimack Bottom at the Merrimack on the right shoulder, not bothering anybody. Northbound traffic busy, but moving. In fact, you don't really start to slow down until you get right near Butler Hill up to the North 270 exit. It's bogged down, and then again from the Union Road overpass to Holly Hills is busy. North 270, slow north of 55 to Tesson Ferry. Approaching 44, it's just kind of off the pace all the way up to Ladue. South 270, south of Page to Ladue is busier. Eastbound 64, a little volume now east of Prospect toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard, but after that, it looks like you're in good shape. Just a hint of a slowdown 94 to Research Park. No delays at the Interbelt so far. Eastbound 70 looks great coming out of Wentzville right now. And downtown, we're still good to go. A little busy on westbound 64 right at the 70 split. But once you get past that split, it's wide open headed across the Poplar or the Musel Veterans Bridge. It's starting to see a little volume westbound 270, west of 159 on that alternate route as well. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a day of clouds and some sunshine. It's going to be humid, a shower or thunderstorm around in the afternoon into the evening, a high of 88. Kind of the same for tomorrow, but a high of 93. Right now in downtown St. Louis, it's partly sunny and 74 degrees. The weather sponsored by Fairmount Park Casino and Racing. Sign up for a Fairmount Park Casino and Racing players card in the casino today. Win up to $100,000. Get access to comms, free slot play, gift giveaways, and promotional offers. This offer won't last long. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The news continues at 7:22. Today, Senate Republicans will begin considering a bill that would claw back $9.4 billion in approved spending for multiple federal agencies. They have until this Friday to pass it. President Trump is ramping up pressure on members of his own party to push these cuts through or risk losing his support. Torian Small has more.
Right now, we're hearing from some of the usual suspects, those previous GOP holdouts in Senators Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Susan Collins of Maine. Collins saying that she's concerned not just about those spending cuts to the Public Broadcasting Corporation, but also to, like I mentioned, that AIDS program that started under George W. Bush. She's very concerned and hoping to strike that from this legislation.
Some mixed messages from the president on Ukraine, Russia. We get the latest from CBS's Elaine Cobb.
President Trump told the BBC earlier today he's disappointed with Russian President Vladimir Putin, but he's not done. The president was speaking just hours after announcing plans to send weapons to Ukraine. Now it's emerged he privately encouraged Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky to step up deep strikes on Russia. The Financial Times says that shift came on a call between the two just 2 weeks ago. Elaine Cobb, CBS News.
India's aviation regulator has ordered airlines to inspect fuel control switches on certain Boeing models. The directive follows a preliminary report on last month's Air India crash. 260 people died. It revealed both engines lost fuel due to flip switches. The order mandates inspections and reports by July 21st. Air India has already conducted deeper checks on its Boeing 787 fleet.
Heavy rain has swept across parts of the Northeast, inundating sections of New York and New Jersey with flash flooding that stranded vehicles and roadways, closed subway lines, and led to the declaration of a state of emergency. Downpours moved through the region Monday night. The worst of the rain has moved on as of this morning, but some roads and streets are still flooded in New York City. Some subway service was suspended, stranded commuters reacting.
When it rains here in New York, it sucks. I don't know what is going on. God forbid if someone slips and falls in this, you'd have to amputate your whole skin. It's horrible. Whenever it rains, it's bad.
Flames roared through an assisted living facility in Fall River, Massachusetts yesterday. It killed 9 people and trapped residents, with at least 30 other people injured. A firefighters union claims inadequate staffing hindered the response to the blaze, though the mayor criticized that claim. The fire chief suggesting no number of first responders would have been enough. Some residents praised the firefighters, but criticized the staff.
Arizona wildfires around the Grand Canyon have forced the area to close for the season. Dangerously hot weather fueling the flames. We get more from Ian Lee.
The 2 fires ripping through the north rim of the Grand Canyon are growing in size and are still 0% contained. Together, they've burned more than 55,000 acres. Arizona's Democratic governor is calling for an investigation into why the federal government decided to manage one of those fires, the Dragon Bravo fire, as a controlled burn when it first broke out. The fire has now burned more than 70 structures, including the historic Grand Canyon Lodge.
2 women died in a house fire on Kingsland Court by South Grand yesterday. St. Louis firefighters arrived and pulled out 2 people trapped by the fire. They were taken to the hospital but died from their injuries. Now, homicide detectives and bomb and arson are handling the investigation.
A Colorado dentist accused of killing his wife of 23 years by poisoning her protein shakes begins trial this week. Prosecutors allege James Craig used cyanide and other chemicals to kill Angela Craig 2 years ago. They claim he searched online for ways to disguise a murder and bought poisons. Authorities also accuse Craig of offering money to arrange false testimony and kill the lead investigator. Craig denies all the charges. His attorneys are questioning the evidence.
Firebrand evangelical pastor John MacArthur has died after a series of illnesses. He led Grace Community Church in California for 56 years. He built a vast following through his popular Grace to You radio ministry. He also wrote hundreds of books and biblical commentaries. In his final sermon, MacArthur said he was grateful for the trials of life.
I see the good hand of divine providence operating in ways that would never have been possible were it not for the trials. So I genuinely and truly am grateful.
His legacy is marked by some controversy. MacArthur was an ardent opponent of feminism, LGBTQ rights, and evolution, and also central to the resurgence of Calvinism in the U.S.
It is 7:27. That time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Tom Ackerman here. The biggest decision that you have to make when it comes to outdoor renovations, so we're talking about windows and siding specifically, is choosing the right contractor. Because if you pick a contractor that maybe is cheaper, cuts corners, doesn't do the job right, you can't go back. Once they do a bad job, then you got to take it all off again and start over with the real thing. The real deal is Banner Construction. They're the ones who have been doing it for over 30 years. They are the absolute best. They are a Pella Windows specialist. They are a James Hardy siding specialist. They do a professional job, well over 30 years now of excellence in St. Louis. Online at bannerconstruction.com. There you can find how to get a free in-home consultation with their outstanding team, and then go from there. 314-569-1050 is their phone number. 314-569-1050 for Banner Construction, and have a banner day.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
At California Psychics, we know that sometimes you can wake up thinking,
I don't know if I'm in the right career, or the right relationship.
But whatever your life dilemma, at California Psychics, we'll give you the guidance you need to feel certain about your life choices. And because we only connect you with the very best, we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
At 7:30, we have sunny skies and 75 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. This is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's a minor crash on northbound 270, right just north of Dorset. There's a little bit of a slowdown there. Right lane's blocked. Not a lot of folks go northbound this time of day. Northbound 270, south of there, of course, in South County, you're slowed down as you ramp on from 55, pretty much all the way up to Manchester, and then Clayton Road from there up to Ladue. Southbound 270 from just south of Dorset down to Ladue. That's pretty heavy as well, all off the pace traffic. Eastbound 64 coming off 61. There's a couple of heavy spots toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard. 94 to Research Park is a little busy, a little slow at Clarkson, and right at 170. South 170, busier from the Parkway on down. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley. There's a couple of slowdowns running through there. Northbound 55, the right lane's Butler Hill up to the North 270 exits are busy. It's heavy again from the Union Road overpass all the way up to about Virginia, and a little more volume downtown. Still not bad, but westbound 64, first of all, you've got some slow traffic running through Highway 50 in O'Fallon in the roadwork zone, and then it's slow west of 3rd Street to the Poplar. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thanks, Roger. Today, clouds mixed with some sun, warm and humid. Temperature's not too bad, though, 88 degrees. Tonight, 74. Then tomorrow, warming up back into the 90s, 93. Chance of thunderstorms today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. Temperatures in the upper 80s, though, Thursday and Friday. Right now, it's 75 in St. Peter's, 77 in Florissant, and 77 downtown at the Arch.
Missouri's urban search and rescue team is sending nearly 36 additional members to Texas, the site of the catastrophic 4th of July flooding.
The death toll now tops 130, with more people still missing. Missouri Task Force 1, based out of the Boone County Fire Protection District, has cadaver dogs in some of the most devastated parts of Texas, along with water rescue teams. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Illinois also sending an urban search and rescue team. Missouri Task Force 1 already there using boats, canines, and heavy equipment to clear large fields of debris. Illinois Task Force 1 has about 40 rescuers. About 24 states are sending help to Texas.
A Venezuelan woman in the country illegally has pleaded guilty in St. Louis County Circuit Court to causing a head-on collision that killed an 11-year-old boy. 24-year-old Andrina Bracco admitted to first-degree involuntary manslaughter and 2 counts of second-degree assault for the December 2023 crash in Hazelwood, in which police say she was driving 75 miles an hour in a 35-mile zone. She's going to be sentenced on September 12th.
St. Louis County is rolling out Narcan vending machines to fight the opioid epidemic. The machines will be out today for the first time, the first one in Pagedale. They're part of the I Carry for My Community campaign.
It's still sort of unconscionable to me that we ended up in this sort of timeline.
I'm Maria Keenan with why one St. Louis school board member voted against plans to relocate students to different schools following May 16th tornado.
That is coming up after your money report. The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 7:33.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
It is 7:34, and your Bloomberg report is sponsored by Busey Bank.
Good morning. Economists think the government's latest reading on retail inflation will reflect the impact of new tariffs. They expect to hear that the consumer price index rose 0.3% in June. That would be the biggest increase since January. The report will be out before the markets open. Middle-income Americans still have a dim view of the nation's economy. 80% of the people responding to a quarterly survey by Primerica give the economy a negative rating, and just over 60% say they feel stressed about money and finances. Saving for the future is still a challenge for most people, and nearly 40% of middle-income households report increased use of credit cards. And it looks like trade tensions could be easing between Beijing and Washington. Chinese airlines took delivery of 3 Boeing aircraft over the weekend. Increased Boeing deliveries to China worth hundreds of millions of dollars are a closely watched bellwether for the health of trade relations between the world's 2 biggest economies. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Life doesn't stand still, and neither do your goals. At Busey Bank, we're here to help you move forward with the financial tools, local support, and expert guidance you need to take your next step. Whether you're growing a business, leaving a legacy, or saving for the future, you'll have a team that's ready when you are. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Selling your car online sounds easy. Snap a few pics, list a price, then what? Wait weeks? Haggle with strangers? At Suntrop Ford, we actually make it easy to sell your car. Visit Suntrop Ford Kirkwood or Westport, and our expert appraisers will give you a fast, fair offer on the spot. Or skip the trip and get an instant quote at suntropford.com. No guesswork, no games, just the best price. Visit suntropford.com today. Get more at Suntrop Ford.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Just dial pound 250 on your phone and say the keyword windows. That's pound 250 keyword windows, or head to rbastl.com.
Baseball's All-Star Week is underway. Cardinals baseball, it returns Friday night when they take on the D-backs.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:37. With only 5 weeks until the start of class for St. Louis Public Schools, the board has come up with a plan they believe solves initial concerns by the local Union 420.
Those concerns included safety issues for students going to rival schools. Only one school board member, Ben Conover, voted against the plan, pointing out that July 11th was the first time that the board even brought up the issue.
Board members have sort of been the last ones to get their question answered in a lot of these discussions, and sometimes have not gotten their questions answered until today. In relation to these discussions, there's been requests for buy-in that have not been fulfilled. There have been directives made to the administration to bargain with AFT that were not voted on by this board. And the sort of processes that are going on right now, really, we need to improve. So in that sense, I guess I am echoing Ms. Hubbard that we really need to improve.
Conover says the school board needs to be consulted and brought in on decisions being made. And he adds, until that time, the board will continue to struggle and have 18 emergency meetings a month.
I'm a no vote on this co-location plan because this has put us in such a terrible situation. I really do want to thank our partners at AFT and parents in the community who have raised concerns, and I'm glad that we did reach almost a full agreement on this plan with AFT, although unclear with the Beaumont-Clyde C. Miller situation. But for all the credit that Mr. Marson gave the administration, which I think much of that is deserved, I think we also have a lot of work to do. So that's it.
Conover references that Beaumont students will still be going to Clyde C. Miller, which is one of the big changes that had the union concerned because of rivalry. Yet the school board approved leaving that change in place. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
It is 7:39. You're listening to Total Information AM for Tuesday, July the 15th. Thanks for being with us. Hope you're having a great morning so far. I'm Debbie Monterrey along with Scott Jagow. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He's keeping his eyes on your ride in. Hopefully nothing in people's ways, Roger.
Yeah, it's not terrible, Debbie. Just a lot of slow traffic for most everybody right now. This traffic report service of Glory Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, you're reporting a vehicle fire near Lake St. Louis Boulevard. I don't see it right now. I see traffic's a little busy east of A, but we'll see what happens there. It's a little slow on eastbound 70, however, 270 midway into Rock Road. South 270 is on the brakes. Dorset down to 364. Then it's slow to Ladue after that. Northbound 270, as you ramp on from 55, there are just slow pockets all the way up through Manchester, and then 64 to Ladue after that. If you're on eastbound 64, from 70 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, slow, approaching 94 to Research Park is busy. Clarkson most of the way to Timberlake, McKnight through Big Bend. South 170 bogs down at Delmar. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Big Bend is busy. Eastbound 30, not bad. Mauer Industrial to 270 slow. Seeing backed up traffic on Tesson Ferry at Concord School Road. Northbound 55 down south looks good, although we do have a bit of a jam. Not quite back to Buck Creek, but there is a jam approaching Double C on northbound 67. Northbound 55 is jammed from Union Road all the way up to Weber. And after that, there's slow pockets from there to Virginia and a little more volume on westbound 64 west of Greenmount Road because of road work going on there. And then westbound 64 busy 3rd Street onto the Poplar. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
It is 7:41. Time to check on our weather forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. What do we have coming up, Joe?
Well, we're going to see sunshine mixing with clouds today, Scott, and it's going to get very warm and humid. But as the day wears on, the opportunity for a shower and thunderstorm will grow across the area. There may be some brief downpours in a couple of spots later this afternoon to this evening, the high 88. Then things quiet down overnight. It'll be warm and sticky with a low in the mid-70s. Sunshine mixes with clouds tomorrow. We heat it up to 93. Watch out for an afternoon thunderstorm. That's the peak of the heat. We back off a little bit for Thursday with more clouds and sun. A better chance for a shower and thunderstorm as we go deeper into the day, the high 87. And the risk for a shower and thunderstorm continues right through Friday. In fact, it's probably a cloudy day with a high of only 87. Saturday, clouds, some sun, still a chance for a thunderstorm thunderstorm with highs near 90. Right now we're at 76 in St. Peter's, up to 77 in Florissant, mostly sunny 79 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Joe Pott. I've got a cool story from the Home Run Derby. That's coming up in sports.
It is 7:42 and the news continues. Harry Potter, very popular on the silver screen. Now he's heading to television. We get more from Kevin Carr.
On Monday, Warner Brothers Discovery announced that production had begun on the upcoming Harry Potter television series. You're a wizard, Harry. This original series will air on HBO and HBO Max, devoting one season to each of J.K. Rowling's best-selling books. Unlike the 8 films released from 2001 to 2011, the longer-form television format will allow the story to include elements not yet adapted from the books. Harry Potter, the boy who lived. Monday's announcement included a behind-the-scenes still of 11-year-old Dominic McLaughlin as the title character, holding up a slate and wearing traditional Hogwarts garb. The studio also announced new cast members, including Anton Lesser from Game of Thrones, The Crown, and Andor as Wandmaker Garrick Ollivander. They will be joining well-known actors in the series, including John Lithgow as Albus Dumbledore, Papa Esiaду as Severus Snape, Janet McTeer as Minerva McGonagall, and Nick Frost as Rubius Hagrid. No more questions. Don't ask any more questions. Warner Brothers Discovery hopes to recharge fans to the Harry Potter franchise after interest in the Fantastic Beasts movies waned over several films. The new series will be written and executive produced by Francesca Gardner, with Succession's Mark Malort serving as executive producer and directing multiple episodes. The new Harry Potter series will debut in 2027.
Afton native John Goodman is on the mend after fracturing his hip. This was on the set of his upcoming film Judy, co-starring Tom Cruise. As he joked on the Smurfs premiere this weekend, this Tom Cruise incident was resolved quickly, but left him with a few lingering issues. Goodman says Tom was the first to help.
Tom's a professional athlete, and man, anytime he wants it up, I'm there for him. He's just a great guy and a lot of fun. You could power America off if they could figure out how to harness his energy. It's astounding. Never met anyone like him, and I doubt if I ever will.
A horror film written and produced by a 9-year-old is set to premiere at the St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase later this week.
Did you feel that? It's just the wind. That's not the wind.
It's called The Haunted Bell Down School. The creator, Willa Kate McCarter. Willa wrote herself into the story. She's a homeschooler who has dyslexia. Her main characters face the same challenges.
It's a haunted school, and there's 3 homeschoolers. And they've, one has dyslexia, one has ADHD, and one has obsessive compulsive or something like that.
The film was produced with $9,000 in funds raised through Seed and Spark crowdfunding, a grant from the Missouri Humanities Council, and some savings from her acting. It premieres at the St. Louis Filmmakers Showcase this Saturday at 7 at the High Point Theater. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
The ins and outs are sponsored by Innsbrook, where every day is the weekend. Tennessee baseball, which is coached by St. Louis native Tony Vitello, produced a pair of draft picks for the Cardinals this week. The Cards took pitcher Liam Doyle, a left-hander, with their top pick at number 5, and a right-hander, Tanner Franklin, with their 3rd pick. Derek Gould of the Post-Dispatch, the Cards beat writer, he joined the Gas House Gang yesterday, live from Atlanta, and spoke about the Tennessee Hurlers.
I think, one thing stands out, and it should stand out, and it stands out in the game. It stands out in the All-Star game. It's velocity, and it's velocity to miss bats. It's those kind of things. It's, the Cardinals really, they said that there's a fastball that Liam Doyle throws, 101 from the left side, the angle he throws, the vertical break he has on it. This is a pitch that does not make it to 18th and 15th. And as often as hitters are taken there at that 5th spot and hitters are taken early, this was a chance for them to take another college pitcher, but one that had what Randy Flores called an outlier pitch. I think you see some of that too with Tanner Franklin, a guy who was used in relief by Tennessee, who may profile as a starter as a pro.
That's Derek Gould yesterday on the Gas House Gang. How about this? The little leaguer whose big dream came true yesterday, CBS's Deborah Rodriguez, goes to the videotape.
MLB's Home Run Derby winner seems to have predicted his big victory.
Home Run Derby champ.
His father shared home video of 8-year-old Cal Raleigh hoisting a bat in his backyard and declaring himself champion. Fast forward 20 years.
All right, there's the number. Cal Raleigh, 18 bombs.
A full circle moment for the Seattle Mariner on ESPN as he became the first catcher and switch hitter to win the title. He did it with his dad pitching and his 15-year-old brother as his catcher. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
All-Star game is tonight. Shohei Ohtani hits leadoff as the DH for the National League, and the Pirates' Paul Skeens will start for the NL. Detroit's Tarek Skubal starts for the AL. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman. Can't say enough about Innsbruck, where every day is the weekend. It's our family getaway, Innsbruck-resort.com. I can tell you from personal experience that we have rented at Innsbruck. At one point, we rented a home in the new Sonnenhaus. The Sonnenhaus houses are like the newest style of living, combining the modern exterior of a treehouse with cozy interior elements of a cottage. Anyway, after spending a weekend in one of those, we thought, could we live here permanently? I mean, it's something to think about. One convenient and comfortable residence that can transition from a vacation home to a permanent residence. Home values have increased 105% over the last 5 years at Innsbruck. So it is a great return on investment. Innsbruck-resort.com, 100 lakes, 7,500 acres, the perfect getaway right here in the St. Louis area. Innsbruck-resort.com.
Baseball fans, this is your night. LaRussa's Rescue Champions and the PenFed Foundation for Military Heroes invite you to celebrate Cardinals championships this Wednesday, July 16th at 6:45 p.m. at the Stiefel Theater. Relive the Cardinals' greatest moments from 2000 to 2011 with legendary players, epic game highlights, behind-the-scenes stories, and tributes to the 60s and 80s title runs. Every ticket supports incredible nonprofit causes. Don't miss it, Cardinals Nation.
2 legendary bands, 1 epic night. Collective Soul and Live are bringing the rock to St. Louis. Catch their summer unity tour at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater July 17th with special guest Grayland James Rue. Don't miss your chance to hear such hits as Shine, December, I Alone, and All Over You. Collective Soul and Live. Tickets can be found at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 7:50, an update on Tuesday morning's commute from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got an injured crash over in Belleville right now. Scott, Lebanon and North Douglas. If you're headed that way, look for restrictions. Emergency crews just called out to it. Westbound 64, since we're talking Metro East, you've got delays from Greenmount through 50 in the work zone, and then downtown, 3rd Street to the Poplar is still kind of busy. Also seeing some slow traffic. Southbound 55, midway down from 143 to 270, and then westbound 270, a couple of slowdowns between there and 255. Again, that's the alternate route for that 5570 westbound closure at 159. Eastbound Highway 70 from Lake St. Louis into Bryan Road, slow. We had a report of a vehicle fire in the area there. 5th Street in through 270s, heavy. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64 to the Boulevard. From K through Research Park, a little busy at Clarkson and east of Lindbergh. South 170 bogs down at Page. A solid jam, really, from Olive all the way down to 64. Westbound 64 from Kings Highway all the way out through McCausland's backed up. Then it's slow to Hanley. North 270, north of 55 to Ladou's busy. South 270, south of 70 to Ladou is slow. And northbound 55 backed up Union Road most of the way to River to Pear and slow past Virginia. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The weather today, clouds and some sunshine. It'll be humid with a shower or thunderstorm around this afternoon into this evening and a high of 88. Pretty much the same for tomorrow, but a high tomorrow of 93 degrees. It looks like we do have a chance of some kind of thunderstorm in the afternoon all week long. It's sunny and 75 degrees right now.
The news continues at 7:52. Governor Kehoe has signed a bipartisan pension bill that the St. Louis Teachers Union says fixes a 2017 glitch.
We worked on this for 5 years, finally got a bill across the line, and we're very pleased. It will help solidify the pension fund off into the future.
AFT Local 420 spokesman Brian Clemens tells KMOX the bill damaged the pension fund, and he says this will help the union recover from that. The new bill does not require any additional funding from Missouri. Instead, Clemens says it balances the contributions between the public schools and its employees. In another move, Governor Kehoe signed off on providing parochial school vouchers. Local 420 has filed a suit saying it's unconstitutional.
Newly sworn in alderwoman in St. Louis City, Jamie Cox Antwi, only had 70 days to campaign, but received an endorsement from the woman she'd be replacing in the 8th Ward. That would be current mayor Kara Spencer. Will Antwi be a rubber stamp for Spencer?
Absolutely not. And that's something that Mayor Spencer and I, in her conversations with me, were really intentional about. I think she endorsed me because she likes my ideas and she likes my confidence in what I have to say. And I think she recognizes that sometimes those ideas may not always match her own, but she respects my ability to be intentional about making decisions that are going to be best for her community.
Antwi is a lifelong St. Louisan, married with a daughter.
Black Pride STL turning 30 this year, and they're facing a $30,000 shortfall. They're calling on the community to help them fill that gap so they can continue their work from health advocacy to cultural events to youth support. Black Pride STL weekend is August 14th through the 17th.
A Troy man who didn't like the new clear bag policy announced by the Lincoln County Fair is facing first-degree terrorist threat charges after posting on Facebook. On a public forum July 10th, Ryan James Hartline responded to a post about clear bags by saying, "I'm a bring whatever I want. Got a problem? Take it up with my sidearm." When others on the forum took issue, he made violent threats toward them, saying he could trace their IP addresses, bragged about the number of people he could drop or shoot. According to Fox 2, he's being held on $100,000 cash-only bond and will make a court appearance today.
The Missouri Restaurant Association calls the new no tax on tips law, which was signed as part of President Trump's budget bill, a win for the state's 230,000 hospitality workers. CEO Buddy Law tells Missouri Net it'll be helpful to those that are tipped.
So when they file their taxes, they won't have to pay federal income tax on up to $25,000 of their tips. That's going to be helpful for that group of folks. The people that work the part-time job that only have $10,000 in tips, they're probably not even in a tax bracket where they're paying much federal income tax. But as you start to get a little higher up in your income, then it will definitely start to have an impact.
The law is temporary. It is set to expire December 31st, 2028, unless Congress renews it.
4 astronauts back on Earth after nearly a 3-week stay aboard the International Space Station. Their SpaceX capsule splashed down overnight off the Southern California coast. The private Axiom mission was commanded by Peggy Whitson, who racked up a record of 695 days in space. Here's Mark Strassman with more.
Launched last month, the private mission managed by Axiom Space was commanded by veteran astronaut Peggy Whitson, making her 5th trip to space.
It's so much fun to be up in space again. Always fun to be in space, but it's really fun to be in space with 3 new astronauts.
Her crewmates, these 3 rookie flyers, were government-sponsored astronauts from India, Poland, and Hungary, 3 nations that last sent someone to space more than 40 years ago.
It is 7:56. You're listening to Total Information AM.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling a bit uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. Truehold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res. It's National Carpet Cleaning Month, and because of Zero Res's commitment to the DGS, you're going to get 3 rooms of carpeting clean plus 1 free plus $50 off your air duct services. 314-474-2020, ZeroResSTL.com.
It is 7:58. Roger Brand with an update on the roads from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, just a lot of traffic out there right now, Scott. So we're just busy on these highways. If you're on Highway 270, for example, northbound, north of 55, pretty much all the way up to Ladue, southbound 270, south of 70, all the way down to Ladue. Again, still going both ways. Eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis to Highway K. There's a little backup at Fifth Street. Looks like there could be trouble there. And then east of the Blanchette to the Rock Road slow. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64 through Prospect. And then through 94 Research Park past Clarkson, east of Lindbergh. Westbound 64 at the Science Center. Northbound 55, Bayless to about Virginia is busy as well. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Tuesday. It is July 15th. I'm Debbie Monterrey. Nicotine pouches you pop in your mouth are becoming popular. Addiction experts say you're not as safe as you think.
I'm Scott Jagow. Missouri Task Force 1 sending more personnel to help in flood-devastated Texas. We'll get an update.
The Defense Department will be using Elon Musk's Grok AI chatbot. Should we be worried? CBS Tech contributor Ian Shear has more.
Charter Communications says it's the target of domestic terrorism.
A St. Louis-based public art exhibition is teaming up with a century-old nonprofit that lost all its funding. Find out more about Counterpublic and the International Institute coming up.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. For today, clouds and some sunshine with a shower and thunderstorm mainly this afternoon, the high 88.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
CBS News on the Hour. Sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. U.S. inflation has just hit its highest level since February.
We are seeing the impact of tariffs starting to push up the inflation rate.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger on the Labor Department's just released report showing consumer prices rose 2.7% in June from a year ago. That compares to an annual increase of 2.4% in May.
We see it most specifically in the food part of this survey. Coffee prices up by 2.2% in just 1 month. Citrus prices up 2.3%.
Those increases are also expected to underscore the Federal Reserve's reluctance to cut short-term interest rates. A weak dollar is making it more expensive to travel overseas.
Thinking of Europe for summer vacation? Better check your wallet. The dollar has tumbled 13% against the euro this year, which means everything from a cup of coffee to museum passes to train fares cost much more than you think. Many Americans abroad feel their cash slipping through their fingers. Others may get a nasty shock on their credit card bills once home. Elaine Cobb, CBS News, Paris.
President Trump has spoken to the BBC about his threat to slap 100% tariffs on countries that buy Russian oil if Vladimir Putin doesn't reach a ceasefire with Ukraine before 7 weeks' time.
Do you trust him?
I trust almost nobody, to be honest with you.
Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev responded, calling Mr. Trump's plan a theatrical ultimatum to the Kremlin. Medvedev says Russia doesn't care. There are calls for an investigation into the way the National Park Service responded to a massive wildfire that's torn through the Grand Canyon, burning dozens of structures, including the historic Grand Canyon Lodge. CBS's Ian Lee is near the fire zone in northern Arizona.
Arizona's 2 Democratic senators sent a letter to Secretary Doug Burgum requesting an analysis of the decision to treat the fire as a controlled burn and asking if recent heat trends and dryness were taken into consideration.
The flames were sparked by a lightning strike on the 4th of July. Early this morning in the Pacific Ocean.
Splashdown. We are in Stable 1.
SpaceX copies splashdown and Stable 1. On behalf of SpaceX, welcome home.
A SpaceX capsule parachuted into the water off Southern California after 24 hours after undocking with the International Space Station. The private flight carried the first astronauts in more than 40 years from India, Poland, and Hungary. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, July 15th. The news sponsored by St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch. KMOX following up on the rift between the St. Louis Public Schools Superintendent and the AFT Local 420 Union.
12 schools were closed due to tornado damage, and the union objected to where some of those displaced students would be sent. Local AFT spokesman Byron Clemens.
One of our concerns was the combination of some of the schools. Some of our students are territorial. We've had other combinations like this in the past, and we caution the district.
Clemens is talking about Beaumont students going to Clyde C. Miller. He says at first, Superintendent Millicent Boroschetti was a little resistant, but then found common ground. Now, the school board approved those changes Monday. However, the Beaumont and Clyde C. Miller change remained in place despite those safety concerns. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
An Oklahoma man is facing 16 counts of animal abuse after driving a box truck with dead and unhealthy dogs to St. Louis for cremation. Police were alerted by an employee at St. Louis Cremation and found 12 dogs stacked in cages within the truck. They were covered in feces and urine. Many of the animals appeared lethargic due to high temperatures. 7 of them were near death. Robert Peters, a 38-year-old from Norble, Oklahoma, told police he owned an animal transportation business. He's charged with 9 felony and 7 misdemeanor counts of animal abuse. He remains jailed without bond. A court appearance is scheduled for today. 2 women died in a house fire in Kingsland Court by South Grand yesterday. St. Louis firefighters arrived and pulled out 2 victims trapped by the fire. They were transported to the hospital but died from their injuries. St. Louis homicide detectives and regional bomb and arson are handling the investigation. A Venezuelan woman in the country illegally has pleaded guilty in St. Louis County Circuit Court to causing a head-on collision that killed an 11-year-old boy. 24-year-old Andrina Bracco admitted to first-degree involuntary manslaughter and 2 counts of second-degree assault in the December 2023 crash in Hazelwood. Police say Bracco was driving 75 miles an hour in a 35-mile-per-hour zone. She's scheduled to be sentenced Friday, September 12th, with prosecutors recommending 10 years for manslaughter and 7 years concurrently for each assault account. St. Louis County rolling out Narcan vending machines to fight the opioid epidemic. The machines will be out today for the first time. The first one will be in Pagedale. The machines are part of the I Carry for My Community campaign. The Missouri Restaurant Association says the new no tax on tips law is a good thing. Buddy Lal is CEO of the Missouri Restaurant Association. He tells Missouri Net there were also a couple of other things that were in the bill, including discounted meals.
They took it from 50% to 100%. Employers can get tax relief on any meals they provide for their employees. And then the no tax on overtime, anybody in the hospitality industry that work in overtime, they won't have to pay taxes on their first $12,500.
Lal says Missouri currently has more than 230,000 workers in the hospitality industry. The St. Louis airport now saying Sunday marked its busiest day on record. TSA screened nearly 26,000 passengers. There were long lines wrapping outside the airport that caused some to miss their flight. An airport spokesman says the TSA was fully staffed, adding that a conference in St. Louis that brought in about 25,000 people likely caused that spike in passengers. Ice cream lovers, take note.
Today, I'm announcing that the FDA is approving Gardenia Blue
as a natural food dye with natural ingredients.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary says this will improve the health of children.
We want natural dyes to be available to food makers and ice cream makers.
Health Secretary RFK Jr. and a group of ice cream makers that produce 90% of the nation's ice cream and frozen dairy desserts are pledging to eliminate many artificial food dyes from their offerings by the end of 2027. Gardenia Blue is also approved for use in sports drinks, candies, and certain other products. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Loaves of bread sold at Walmart and Kroger stores in Missouri are being recalled due to potentially containing undeclared hazelnuts. The Food and Drug Administration warns people with nut allergies or severe sensitivity to hazelnuts, risking or life-threatening reactions if they consume Lewis Bake Shop artisan-style half-loaf bread. Nearly 900 loaves were found to have the nuts, prompting the voluntary recall. Customers can return the affected bread to their place of purchase for a full refund. It's 8:08. We'll get a check of traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824 or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Now there's a new way to take charge of your blood sugar. Introducing New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula from the makers of the nation's best-selling garlic supplement. New Garlic helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels with clinically supported levels of garlic, plus a custom blend of vitamins and minerals, and it's odor-free. Take charge of your blood sugar with New Garlic Healthy Blood Sugar Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
Seems like back to school happens earlier each year.
First day of school coming in hot.
And this year, my kids had massive supply lists.
Folders, notebooks, and pens. Oh, the humanity.
But Staples had everything I needed, with some items just 25 cents.
Watch the small print.
No. My back to school budget was saved by Staples Easy Button.
Everything for school, in stock and as low as 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
In-store, online, and on the app. NC 23 while supplies last.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
8:10. We'll check the forecast in just a minute. First, though, let's see what's happening on your ride into work. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. How's it look out there right now, Roger?
No, mainly just busy, Megan, but we do have a closure in Jefferson County. Hillsborough Valley Park Road near Dillon Road shut down. A car into a power pole. There may be wires down, but they have the roadway closed there. It is Hillsborough Valley Park Road that shut down there. Eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis into K is slow. From Earth City into the Rock Road, kind of busy. Eastbound 64 from 70, most of the way to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. 94 to Research Park. And then east of Lindbergh into Big Bend, south 170, a couple of spots south of Delmar to 64. That's getting better. Westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley, slow. South 270, Dorset to Ladue is busy. North 270, Tesson Ferry to Ladue is heavy. Northbound 55, you've got slow traffic from Bayless up through Loughborough. And on the Illinois side, westbound to 64, just west of 3rd Street to the Poplar Street Bridge. Again, just a slowdown. And still seeing some slow traffic on westbound 270 from 157 to 255, where that's that detour westbound to South 255 to avoid the closure of 5570 westbound. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Coming up, we're going to talk about how addictive those popular nicotine pouches that you put in your mouth are. First, though, we need to get a check of the forecast.
Warm and humid today with clouds and some sunshine. Also a shower and thunderstorm in the area, mainly during the afternoon and early evening hours. The high today, 88. And partly cloudy, warm and sticky overnight, though 74. Tomorrow, sunshine will mix with clouds. It'll be hot and humid. Watch out for an afternoon thunderstorm, high 93. Thursday, more clouds and sun with a shower and thunderstorm or two in the afternoon, high 87. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We have sunny skies this morning, 78 degrees in Florissant. It's 79 in St. Peters and 78 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Zyn nicotine pouches and other products like them have exploded in popularity, but addiction experts have concerns about their use. Dr. Pete Vernig is a licensed psychologist and vice president of mental health services at Recovery Centers of America.
There's a lot of people who are kind of looking at them for the potential that they could serve a purpose in helping people to quit smoking. But it's really important to differentiate them from things like a nicotine patch or a gum, what we would call nicotine replacement therapy, which is FDA approved as a treatment, whereas the FDA has simply cleared the tobacco-free nicotine pouches for sale. There are health risks that go along with these pouches. So anything that contains nicotine, whether or not it contains tobacco, puts people at risk for hypertension. When young people use them, nicotine can be damaging to the developing brain. Also specific to these products, which is not as much the case with nicotine replacement therapy, there is a risk to oral health. So they can lead to gum loss. They can cause precancerous oral lesions. So there definitely are risks associated with it. Now, what's interesting is that they are less harmful than smoking cigarettes or using chewing tobacco. So for somebody who is using one of those methods of nicotine delivery, if they were to switch to one of these tobacco-free pouches, it's what we call harm reduction in substance use treatment. So basically, we know that these are not harm-free, they're not safe, quote unquote, but they are less harmful or less likely to cause the serious health consequences that come with smoking cigarettes or chewing tobacco. So the risk to lung health, risk of potential cancer that's associated with both, these are less risky. That doesn't mean not risky, and they carry additional risks above and beyond nicotine replacement therapy. One of the other risks that goes along with this is, if people are using them as sort of an off-ramp to smoking or using chewing tobacco, because they are more approachable, because they deliver the nicotine that a person has dependence on at that point, they can also be a more easy on-ramp for people who are maybe wouldn't start just smoking or start using chewing tobacco. They can be sort of a lower barrier to entryway for somebody to start using nicotine who might not otherwise. This is especially concerning when we think about young people. I liken it a little bit to vapes. When vapes became really popular, they first appeared, 20-some years ago, there was the same interest that, hey, this is something that people could use to transition from smoking cigarettes that is not without harm, it's not without risk, but less harmful than smoking a cigarette. And the results over the past couple of decades have been mixed. They certainly have helped some people transition away from regular smoking, but they have also, use of nicotine vaporizers has increased among young people, and they're oftentimes seen as sort of a more approachable or more acceptable alternative to smoking. So in addition to helping people to maybe get off of cigarettes, you see people who are introduced to nicotine use and then maybe even transition to smoking later on with vaporizers. So, I kind of have the same concerns about these pouches.
Talk about overall just the addictive nature of nicotine.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicotine is an addictive substance. And what we mean when we say that is it is a substance, it's a drug that is able to enter the brain, the central nervous system, and have its effects there. So what it does, it activates receptors in the brain that are usually associated with neurotransmitters or chemicals that are supposed to be in the brain, but they're supposed to be in the brain in certain amounts and for certain reasons. So anytime you have a substance of abuse, whether it is alcohol or nicotine or an opioid or any drug that people abuse, it's basically hijacking the systems of the brain that have to do with reward and reinforcement. Now, there's a lot of other different things in the brain as well, but one of the commonalities in drugs of abuse is they take over what's called the dopaminergic system in the brain, or the system that is involved with the neurotransmitter dopamine, which is basically the reward part of the brain. It causes us to enjoy things like eating a really good meal or, doing other pleasurable activities. So nicotine is a very addictive substance. It's a substance that creates physiological dependence. It is a substance that creates tolerance. And what that means is that a person needs larger amounts to get the same effect. So the effect that somebody gets when they first start using nicotine, whether they're using it with a pouch like this or smoking it or any other means of delivery to the brain, that amount creates a certain effect. But after, months or a certain period of use, they no longer get that effect unless they use a larger amount. So that's one of the things that kind of fuels that cycle of dependence. And then finally, they also cause withdrawal, which means once that substance is taken away, the brain is not producing as much of it on its own. And the brain's gotten used to having so much of this substance that person can have symptoms that oftentimes are the opposite of intoxication. So when somebody smokes a cigarette or uses a nicotine pouch, they may feel calm, they may feel more alert. It provides all of these pleasurable sensations. Once that's withdrawn, people get the opposite feeling. So, people often refer to it as a nick fit or nick craving in reference to nicotine. That is somebody feeling on edge or agitated or, basically the opposite of those intoxicating feelings that they get.
Dr. Vernig, those things that you just described, is that why it is so dangerous for the developing brains of young people?
Absolutely. That's one of the reasons. So, in young people, the brain is still sort of getting wired together. It's growing, it's developing. The development of the brain doesn't actually even end until, the early 20s. It is the one organ of the body that is still growing and developing at that point in time, when the rest of the body, you reach a certain height and a certain physical maturity, usually in the late teenage years. Obviously, there are changes to your body afterwards, but that part of our body is still actually developing. So when you start to throw chemicals into the brain, you start to impact those neurotransmitter systems in ways that, they're not meant to be changed. That can cause the brain to develop in a different way. And it definitely is very problematic. That's why one of the reasons why one of the biggest predictors of a substance use disorder is the age of first use. People who use drugs or alcohol earlier on in their life are much more likely to develop a problematic relationship with that substance later on in life, as opposed to somebody who starts using that substance later on once the brain is fully developed.
That is Dr. Pete Vernig, licensed psychologist and vice president of mental health services at Recovery Centers of America. Still ahead this hour on 104.1 FM KMOX, Missouri Task Force 1 sending more personnel to help in flood-devastated Texas. We'll get an update. Plus, the Department of Defense will be using Elon Musk's Grok AI chatbot. Should we be worried? We're going to hear from CBS Tech contributor Ian Scher at the bottom of the hour. Right now, though, we need to get a check on the roads again for you and see how busy it is out there. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We got a report of a minor crash right now, Megan, eastbound 70 at 270. This traffic report's a service of Metro Transit, so traffic's just sort of bogged down through there. It looks like, I guess it's on the shoulder. I don't really see anybody swerving around anything right now. Eastbound 64, busy at Lake St. Louis Boulevard, slow Clarkson to Timberlake, east of Lindbergh through the Innerbelt. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley's bogged down. Southbound 270, Dorset down to Ladou's busy. North 270 approaching Gravois all the way to Ladue, and then there's still slow traffic from Dorset midway up to 70. Like I said, that minor crash eastbound 70 past there, making it a little difficult for the North 270 drivers as well. Northbound 55 Bayless through Virginia, there's some heavy traffic right now. Also in westbound 270 slow, 157 to 255. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We'll see sunshine today. A few clouds will pop up too. It'll be warm and humid once again today with a shower or thunderstorm possible, mainly this afternoon and evening. Expect a high of 88. Right now, sunny skies, 78 downtown at the Arch.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
We are Metro Transit. We don't just help ourselves and our neighbors get where we need to be. We help our whole region get where we want to be. Get on board at rideonmetro.org.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This is Tom Ackerman for McKelvey Homes. Move up to McKelvey, McKelveyHomes.com. McKelvey Homes knows with market uncertainty and rising home values, many buyers are on the fence, but McKelvey Homes is turning that hesitation into opportunity. Right now, they are offering a 5.5% fixed 30-year interest rate on select homes, along with move-in ready options, exclusive savings, and the peace of mind that comes with buying new. Go to McKelveyHomes.com. You can view their custom home sites, find your new home, find out where they build all throughout the St. Louis area, St. Louis County and St. Charles County. McKelvey Homes, established in 1898, is Missouri's oldest and most well-established name in the home building industry. Again, go to McKelveyHomes.com and you can see all the information and photos there. Move up to McKelvey, McKelveyHomes.com, McKelveyHomes.com.
You're back with Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. And as you heard here on KMOX, more members of Missouri's Task Force 1 have been sent to Texas to help with ongoing flood recovery. Let's find out more about their mission. I'm joined now by Gail Blomenkamp, Support Services Bureau Director for the Boone County Fire Protection District. That's the headquarters for Missouri Task Force 1. Good morning, and thank you for joining me.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
First, for our listeners, what is Task Force 1?
So Missouri Task Force 1 is one of 28 FEMA urban search and rescue task forces in the country, designed to do large area search, urban search and rescue. So large building collapses, any type of natural or man-made disaster, we have the capability of dealing with that.
How many personnel are now in Texas?
So we have a total of 89 people in Texas right now, and the team is made up of 217 members from all across the state of Missouri, from every corner and everywhere in between.
What kind of equipment do they have or other things that they're working with?
So on this deployment, we took an emphasis on water rescue capability. So obviously boats and dry suits and then also human remains detection canines. So we took extra canines with us, but we take the full complement of equipment regardless of what the mission may be, just because you never know what you're going to get into. So seismic listening devices, cameras, breaching, shoring, braking tools, and equipment, and over 100,000 pounds of equipment is what we took with us.
So what is the mission there in Texas right now for Task Force 1?
So right now our crews are assigned to a 10-mile stretch of the Guadalupe River. Today they're going to be working into some of those tributaries that feed into that river, but it's wide area search. So they're in boats, they're looking at debris piles or debris fields. They're working with volunteers, local volunteers, to delayer some of those. We have HRD canines that are searching buildings and debris pile. We have men and women that are walking up and down the river trying to look and search into anything that they come across. And the mission is recovery at this point, looking for those missing people.
What kind of conditions have they said that they are dealing with right now there?
So the conditions they're dealing with, obviously, it's Texas and it's summertime, so it's very hot, very humid. They were actually suspended from working on Sunday due to some rain and other flooding that was occurring in the area. But their conditions are a lot like what they've seen for Hurricane Helene in North Carolina just last year. So sheer devastation, complete destruction of all the infrastructure there as far as roads and bridges, and then just these humongous debris fields of trees and houses and vehicles. And it's very ugly at this point. The national media, you can see those videos and pictures, but just doesn't do it justice when you're not there.
How long could they be deployed there?
So our crews will be deployed up to 14 days. And so we sent 45 members out on Monday, and we just had added another 35 members yesterday to that team. And so it's a full. We've got 89 people there currently. Some of those members that went out on Monday will have to rotate back probably over this coming weekend or Monday. And whether we supplement or replace those members, that's yet to be determined by FEMA. It's really based on what the need is at that time.
Well, thank you for the update. We appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks for having me.
That is Gail Blumenkamp with Boone County Fire Protection, the headquarters for Missouri Task Force 1. Coming up, the Department of Defense will be using Elon Musk's Grok AI chatbot. CBS Tech contributor Ian Scher will tell us whether it's the same version that they had to apologize for because it praised Hitler. It's now 8:29.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Are you not spending enough time in your outdoor space? Do you have friends or neighbors who spend a lot of time outdoors? It's because they have an incredible setup with a nice deck or a sunroom or a screen room, a good canopy or a patio with a pergola with adjusting slats. I mean, they've just got it decked out so that you could just spend all that time in the summer or the fall or the winter. You can have that too if you call Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. And whether you're looking for a fence, a deck, a patio, a pergola, whatever it is, from a simple project to a complete outdoor space makeover, Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been in business for 57 years with an incredible reputation. They do great work. If you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. Just dream of what your outdoor space could be and how much time you could spend out there. If you call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Let's check the roads again. Roger was telling us about an accident the last time he was up. Let's get the latest now from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Megan, this traffic report's a service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. There's still a little slow traffic. The crash was cleared to the shoulder. I think it's eastbound 70 just east of 270. Traffic slow through there to the Rock Road. Better now than it was 10 minutes ago. Southbound 270, you're still bogged down from Page to Ladue. Northbound 270, north of the Sappington or overpass, it's actually backed up from 44 to Bopeg Bend, but again remains busy all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 64, 94 to Research Park. Chesterfield Parkway west to almost 141 is heavy. After that, though, not much to worry about till you get right at the Interbelt. Just a brief slowdown there. South 170, much improved. Heavy just for, south of the Parkway. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Big Bend is slow. 55, just a little busy. Weber Road to River to Pear, so that's not bad. And we've cleared out westbound 64 through to the Poplar Street Bridge, and westbound 270 just slow midway between 157 and 255 now. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers, an important decision, and should not be based solely on advertising.
Sunny skies for most of the day. We'll see some clouds roll in. It's going to be warm and humid with a shower or thunderstorm possible later in the day. A high 88 right now. Sunshine, 78 degrees downtown at the Arch. Elon Musk's Grok AI chatbot is now being made available to federal agencies. The Department of Defense will start putting the AI to use. It's a move that comes shortly after Musk issued a lengthy apology following the chatbot's recent output praising Hitler and a streak of anti-Semitic posts. Holly Kwan from our Odyssey sister station KNX spoke with CBS News tech contributor Ian Scherr.
Is this the new and improved re-educated Grok they're using?
It is a different version than the one that is used publicly. And part of that is because of the rules that government has around security and how data is tracked and delivered and all sorts of stuff like that. It's also worth noting that the defense, the kind of digital and artificial intelligence office of the DoD also awarded contracts to Anthropic, Google, and OpenAI, each with also a $200 million ceiling.
So it sounds like then they're testing the waters with everybody's product.
To a degree. It's worth noting that Meta was not mentioned in this list, which, especially considering how much effort Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook and Meta, has put into that. That said, also his relationship with Washington, D.C. has always been a little rocky. So it's not entirely a surprise, but still it's worth noting that Meta is not there. Microsoft as well, right? There are some other companies that aren't there. But generally speaking, the DoD seems to be saying, look, we want to try out all of these things as much as we can. And it's very possible that they've already made assessments of the other ones, and they don't feel the need to make these agreements.
This could be hugely lucrative to those companies that have passed muster then.
Yes, and that's part of what's really fascinating about it. I mean, I've been tracking how government has been talking about how to use AI for quite a while. And some of the most kind of interesting things I've heard are stuff like the State Department had discussed using it to be able to kind of simplify a lot of their documentation when someone goes abroad, right? So, typically they'll get like a research packet on the person they're going to meet with or the place they're going. And it's this big, nice packet, right? But it's a lot to read. And having something that's easier is really key. A lot of companies have also found that designing AIs that kind of answer questions about the company, whether it's, policies or rules or internal company documents, has become very, very successful. And so, one place that has a ton of data is the US government. So it's not a surprise that maybe that's part of what they're talking about, but not any details, unfortunately, that they've made public. And so I could see a lot of situations where even what we are aware of that these things can do would be beneficial to the Department of Defense.
That's CBS News tech contributor Ian Scherr. We've got Bloomberg with Your Money next.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
8:36, time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gatner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Stocks were slightly higher at the end of a volatile Monday session. The major averages had advances ranging from 0.1% to 0.25%. Financial stocks were among the winners. Some big banks will be reporting quarterly results over the next 2 days. Wall Street will have its attention set on the government's latest reading on retail inflation. The report will be out before the markets open, and it's expected to show the latest impact on new tariffs. Economists expect to hear that the consumer price index rose 0.3% in June. That would be the biggest increase since January. NVIDIA says it's resuming sales of its H2O AI chip in China after securing Washington's assurances that the shipments would get approved. The chip maker says government officials said they would greenlight export licenses for the artificial intelligence accelerator. The U.S. reversal comes after weeks of thawing relations between Washington and Beijing. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's already mid-July. Where has the summer gone? If it was your goal to sell your house this summer, whether it's been sitting on the market or you haven't yet put it on the market, you need the right agent. To reassess your situation, call Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888. Why Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty? Well, her name is her promise. Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria Liu will guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or she will pay you the difference. You don't want to risk working with someone who doesn't have the guarantees, the buyers, the experience to help sell within your time frame and for the most money. That is Gloria Liu. 314-325-6888. You can find her online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. If you want to sell your home for 100% of market value or have Gloria pay you the difference, it's Gloria Liu at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
Sunny skies, 81 degrees now at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. St. Louis County rolling out Narcan vending machines. The first one will be in Pagedale. The price of tomatoes could increase. The U.S. government says it's placing a 17% duty on most fresh Mexican tomatoes. And Charter Communications says it's the target of domestic terrorism. We'll have more on that in just a moment. First, though, a check of the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, Megan, we got trouble on North 270 now. This traffic reports a service to Saks Financial. I mentioned the slow going north of Gravois and a jam from 44 up to about Big Bend, just before Big Bend at the railroad overpass. We have I guess it's a crash. The two left lanes are blocked. I can't tell exactly, but it's either a stall or a crash. The left lanes are blocked is what's the most important. That's why it's jammed back to 44. And then north of there, Manchester up to Ladue still busy. South 270 Page to Ladue, that's still slow. Eastbound 64 from Annie Guns to almost Timberlake heavy. Big Night to Big Bend slow. South 170 bogs down at the Parkway. Westbound Skinker Clayton to Big Bend on westbound 64 is still heavy. Eastbound 70 still a slowdown. I can't see the crash. Should be on the shoulder, but it's still heavy. 270 most of the way into the Rock Road. 55 just a little slow at Weber. And westbound 270 is kind of busy now through 159 and then again approaching 270. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy skies for part of the day today. That's because we could see some showers and thunderstorms around. Otherwise, sunny, warm, and humid with a high of 88. We have sunny skies now, 81 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
Hey, it's Jeff Sachs at Sachs Financial, retiresafestl.com. Have you ever wondered what it's like to work with a financial advisor? Are you in your 50s or early 60s and really haven't talked to anybody about how you retire? Give me a call today. Check out our website, retiresafestl.com.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. Charter Communications says it's seen a huge spike in attacks on its infrastructure. The telecommunications company is calling it domestic terrorism. Aaron Detweiler is Area Vice President for Charter Spectrum's Missouri Management Area. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us this morning here on KMOX.
Hi, Megan. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Give us a sense of what kind of attacks you're talking about here.
You know, the attacks range in multitude. We don't know the exact kind of, motivation behind some of the attacks. A lot of it, what we recognize is it's being driven by copper prices, the increase of copper prices. The hits that are occurring are typically bad actors on utility poles, our lines, electrical grids, EV charging stations, across the board. When you think about who's doing this and what they're hunting for, the reality of our situation is we don't have copper lines. We have fiber optics, and even knowing that, in many situations, repetitive type actions like this, it's not stopping, and we want it to stop.
So these are individuals that are breaking into substations and things like that, trying to harvest materials?
Substations in probably other industry. For us, particularly, it would be aerial line cuts, lines that you see from pole to pole, whether you're driving down the road or down the highway. These items are being cut, severed, worse in some scenarios, pulled down, and that's what's impacting these services for customers in these situations.
What kind of an increase are you seeing?
When you think about the year-over-year increase, it's about 200%. I think if you look at the activity, up through July this time, it's about 148 total averages recorded in this particular scenario. The scary part about this is it doesn't seem like there's a decline. It's kind of continuing in the upper, right chart movement. And what we're trying to do in this scenario, Megan, and talking to you and others, is make sure the public's aware of it. Gain the support from our, federal and local authorities. To assist in identifying it and helping us assist it to stop.
Is there any pattern to these attacks?
There's no general pattern. I would say that the hits that we receive in this scenario are sometimes in the overnight time frames, primarily in the overnight time frames, not in the public eye per se, not in the daylight, as it were. So that's probably the biggest and most significant pattern. As far as an area of the state, it's really across both sides, both east and west side of the state, the Kansas City area, St. Louis area, which I'm responsible for. And, it's not just Spectrum, it's across a multitude of providers in the telecom industry, and it's across the entire country.
We're speaking with Aaron Detweiler, Area Vice President for Spectrum's Missouri Management Area. Go into more detail on the impact of these attacks. What happens after a line is cut, for example?
Yeah, and look, it's a great question. A lot of people, think, my fiber's cut, maybe a couple houses, maybe down from a service perspective. And I think what we collectively don't always understand is that fiber line may feed hundreds, thousands, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of different customers. The fact that it's impacting critical infrastructure, hospitals, federal locations, banks, schools, people who are working at home. It's not just people streaming services. I think that's why in this scenario, we're stepping up the term, domestic terrorism in these situations. It's not just vandalism. It's not just somebody throwing a rock through a window or painting an underpass. These are actually impacting our lives, customers' lives in their home, businesses, and the entire list that I've mentioned. And that's really where, we step in. It sometimes takes hours to resolve these scenarios. These fiber cuts are not simple resolution. Some of them occur here in the metro. Some of them occur in rural areas where it takes us a while to get to. So it's not a simple fix.
Go into more detail about why you are calling it domestic terrorism. That's some charged language there.
It is, certainly. And I think it has to do with two things. One is the rate by which it's occurring and the severity by which it's occurring. And I think when you make the transition from a vandalism, and as I mentioned, this isn't, somebody painting a home or an underpass. This is impacting critical infrastructure that feeds hospitals, homes, businesses, federal locations, police stations, emergency response units. And I think when that comes into play and we start seeing more and more of that scenario, you have to change language appropriately and take action.
What's the challenge for law enforcement and prosecutors?
I think the challenge, I'll I'll leave that up to them to kind of comment on, Megan, but I think the challenge here is twofold. When we think of why this is, again, it could be an individual bad actor, could be reason, could be no reason, could be just someone, thinking that they're getting copper and $40 to go, buy whatever with. The other situation of this is they take that copper to a scrapper, and the challenge is some of our, scrappers don't respond accordingly. And while there are great laws that support what we're supposed to do in federal response and the felony association to these cuts, we need more support in that area, holding the individuals accountable, holding our scrappers accountable to bring this to an end.
I know the Charter noted in the information about this that there are a number of states, including Missouri, that have passed legislation making these attacks a felony offense. Is there more that needs to happen, though?
Yeah, I think it's not just the individual that's that we need to hold accountable. We need to hold accountable the entire structure that supports the process, and that being the scrappers, how we pay for copper, understanding the price of copper and what it drives from a behavior standpoint in many of these situations. And then how do we hold them accountable when you get into the court system and we talk about, this was a fiber cut, and do we really understand the impact of that cut itself and what it causes downstream?
Aaron, you mentioned this early on. You hope that the public will kind of help spot what's happening. How will they know that something is suspicious?
Yeah, there's a couple different things. First and foremost, if you don't see a Spectrum logo and there's somebody messing with the line, if you don't see an Ameren logo and there's someone messing with power services, if you don't see, the right type of individual with the right type of truck, you should be suspicious. And if a certain individual is showing up repetitively in a location they shouldn't be, and you are having a service impact, you should be suspicious. We have tip lines that are certainly available. We have spectrum.com/vandalism, which is available where people can find out more, report more. In all situations, given the severity of this, we're offering a reward, up to $25,000 for information related to this that leads to a credible response and arrest in these scenarios. It's incredibly important that we get the public understanding, calling in, reporting an issue if and when available.
Aaron, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Megan. Really appreciate it.
That is Aaron Detweiler with Spectrum joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up, a St. Louis-based public art exhibition teaming up with a century-old nonprofit that lost all its funding. We're going to find out more about Counter Public and the International Institute of St. Louis with Debbie Monterrey coming up.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis families have trusted Suntrup Ford Westport and Suntrup Ford Kirkwood as a proud, family-owned and operated dealership. We offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Ford, you'll find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupford.com. Save more at Suntrup Ford. Visit suntrupford.com.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
You're back with Total Information AM. Here's Debbie Monterrey.
Federal funding cuts have hit a lot of nonprofits in our community very hard, but it has also spurred some interesting partnerships. Joining me right now is Melissa Sanders, who is the Director of Community Engagement for Counter Public. And Melissa, for people who are not familiar with Counter Public, can you tell us what Counter Public does?
Counter Public is a community arts organization that reimagines how art can be experienced in everyday life. We run a exhibition every 3 years, a triennial, and our last one was in 2023, and the next one will be in 2026.
So people may know Counter Public from big art installation projects, but now you're forming a partnership with the International Institute of St. Louis. Explain how this is going to work and what it's all about.
Yes, yeah. So it really came out of a need of, we're in the moments of community engagement right now where between the triennials, we do a lot of deep listening and understanding about community context. And we have established that International Institute is one of our anchor sites for the 2026 exhibition, and we really wanted to make sure that we were doing really targeted engagement around the Institute. But at the beginning of this year, of course, we all know that the administration changed all of the funding, and there were significant cuts towards the International Institute. And so they had to furlough 60 to 80% of their staff. And when we were envisioning our engagement, we were like, well, what does it mean for us to do something that actually is mutually beneficial to the Institute? And so we were like, let's rehire someone who has been furloughed due to these cuts. And they will spend a little bit of time with us at Counterpublic doing community engagement to help us understand their clients and those surrounding the Institute and their immediate community. But the rest of the time, about over 70% of their time actually is going to be back doing their work that they need to do at the Institute. So we were able to fund a full-time position that serves between both institutes, but primarily as a service to the International Institute.
What role does the International Institute have in your upcoming, did you call it the triennial?
The triennial takes place as sort of, it can be permanent works, it can be temporary works. The permanent works are sort of the large scale art pieces that you think of traditionally with an arts triennial. Temporary works might be things that are built particularly for the triennial, but then taken down. And then there's also programming. So there are talks and workshops and all of those sorts of things that are geared towards engaging with the art or engaging with the particular community that the art's embedded in. And the International Institute is one of our sites. And so there will be public art pieces that are permanent and temporary, and programming that will all be embedded at the Institute, and as well as campus improvements that are going to be in line with sort of the idea of embedding this art within the everyday life of those at the Institute.
We know that the International Institute lost most, if not all, of their federal funding this year. Did Counterpublic lose any federal funding, or do you get federal funding?
We have lost funding in the thought of like grants. There have been grants that have been federally funded, grants that are related to arts organizations that have been significantly cut because not just federal funding has been cut, but also certain levels of philanthropy have been reduced or taken away or rediverted. And so we've lost funding as well, not to the scale that the International Institute has had for sure. So we are really kind of lucky in that realm.
Is this the first time that Counterpublic has done this kind of thing to get involved with an organization at which you were going to do an art installation because they were having a difficult time?
Well, all of our work has really been as a leveraging point. We think of our the art pieces not just as like something beautiful to look at, but we think about their long-term longevity within the community. And so we are always thinking about ways in which we make sure that the art pieces are stewarded and also able to be leveraged for additional funding or support for the organizations in which they're at. And our fellow Grace Murekatete is amazing, and we are so glad to be in partnership with the International Institute.
And Grace is the employee of the International Institute that you are sponsoring, or?
Yes, she's our fellow. Yes,
fellow.
So
okay.
Yes, she's the one who will be working between both institutes.
Melissa Sanders is the Director of Community Engagement for Counterpublic, talking about the interesting and unique partnership with the International Institute as they face the loss of federal funding. And we look forward to the 2026 triennial and the art that will come out of that. Thanks so much for the time, Melissa.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. And coming up tomorrow on Total Information AM, do you have someone who is a Gen Z in your life? We're going to tell you how they communicate so that you can make a meaningful connection with them. Also, electric vehicle owners don't pay gas taxes, but now they're going to face a new annual fee. KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz will tell us more. We've got another traffic update coming up.
Baseball's All-Star Week is underway. Cardinals baseball, it returns Friday night when they take on the D-backs.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Z.